We're good? Okay. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Weare Board of Selectmen for November 21st, 2022. We started at 6:30 with a couple of interviews for potential new hires. Brings us to 7 o'clock, and yeah, we'll pass 7 o'clock. And pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brings 12 a comment.
Frank Campana, don't let this scare you. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna try, I know we've mentioned in the past, I'm gonna try and do, and remember this 5-minute thing
Yeah.
as we go on, so.
Okay.
Just figure I'll let
So-
you know.
So you're not going to just thank me, you're going to let me know specifically?
I will raise my hand
Okay.
for you.
Well, I may not be able to see it. You can be vocal.
Okay.
Don't let this scare you, I just brought this here for verification. My comment centers around the, when you set the tax rates. And specifically, it's the overlay amount that is, this is the handout that you folks receive for, setting the tax rate. And on the back, there's proposed warrant articles, dollar amounts and, from last year. And I'll use the most recent for 22. They're pretty much duplicate. They've been pretty much duplicate for the last several years. And as pointed out in the presentation to you folks, there's a line called overlay, and that's the money that's used to abate taxes. And it's been pretty consistent the last couple of years. It's been around $30,000, and it's been around $30,000. It has been $30,000. In 21, 18,000 of that was for abatement. There's a balance of 11,000, which any balance goes into the general fund. This year, I was able to ask and was told out of the 30,000 for 22, there was roughly 21,000, might be a little bit more coming, so that's $8,000. My point is that the overlay is a very elusive dollar amount. There's no line in a budget the taxpayer can go and look at. You folks, when you set the tax rate, I've been to tax rate settings going back to 1996, okay? And over the last several years, when the word overlay comes up in the presentation, nobody at the table asks, what is it and how much is it? Well, it's stated 30,000, but you don't question, is that enough? Is it too much? And here's the history. This is all tax rate setting that I have been to when the DRA used to come here. So it goes back to 96 and up to present day. So, well, the overlay is an account, is a tax to us, all right, that can be abused. It's very elusive. Like I say, there's no line in the budget that somebody can go to look at it. So through confirmation, this is 99 town report, this is 98 report, and that's all I have to go by, all right, for what I'm going to say. In 1997, the tax calculation sheet showed a $2,000, I'm going to use round numbers, $200,000 overlay, all right? There was $13,000 that was paid out. That leaves a balance of $187,000 that went into the general fund for you folks at your disposal. You can use it to help offset taxes, you can use it to offset an article, or you can hang on to it. 1998, $254,000, all right, went in, that the selectmen approved. With an abatement of $28,000. So that's $225,000 balance that went into the general fund. 1999, $251,000. I have it here, you know, the worksheets, because I've attended all those years, and it's also in here. So, 99, $250,000. And get this, the abatement was $16,000. So that's a balance of $234,000. And like I say, it can be abused. You folks don't even ask the question, all right? Is it enough or isn't it enough? And when I say abused, I said it many times up here to different boards probably, and to you folks, that the balance, 187, 225, 234, all right, that's how we got a safety complex. I think it was either $1 million or $1.2 million safety complex for $600,000. Because 600, and that was the, you know, the bond for the building. Because the other $600,000 came from the abuse to the taxpayers.
5 minutes, Frank.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? There being none, we'll move on. Brings us to, I'm gonna shake it up a little bit. I'm gonna recognize Chief Richards for the signature of the ambulance form.
He doesn't have it.
Doesn't have it?
I don't have it because I was told we don't need it. We already have a contract signed.
Okay.
The reason that I'm here is to let you know that there's been a price increase based on, most of it is the Dodge chassis. And then there was some adjustments that we made, some pieces that were left off that we needed. So I'm just looking for the okay to go, and do you want to know what that number is? $12,235.
Still within the budget, there was.
Still, well, we're at 338.
Okay.
I'm just looking for the okay to go down, initial all the pages, and get it moving. So that's why I'm here, just.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll authorize Acting Chief Richards to go down and sign the adjustments to the ambulance on behalf of the town.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Yes.
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 Abstain.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm headed, not now, but,
Yeah.
all right, thank you very much.
Yep. I knew his was short, so that's why I figured we'd get it out of the way. All right, we'll go back to the CIP presentation and recognize Jack Dearborn, the CIP Committee Chairman.
Good evening, Jack Dearborn, Chair of the Town of Weare Capital Improvement Plan. And first, I'd like to go to the members of the subcommittee. Stu Richmond, Vice Chair, Steve Roberts, Gary Shelto, John Osborne, ex officio, and Bruce O'More, Planning Board members. I'd also like to thank the all the department heads that spent the time with us and several iterations on some. I appreciate that, the board does. And also Naomi and Beth for all their hard work that they did. Page 2, another thing is, why do we have a subcommittee, or why do we have a CIP committee? Well, RSA 674, 5 through 8 defines that if you have a planning board, two of the jobs that the planning board primarily do is, one is land use, which we all see every Thursday at the, most every Thursday at the planning board meeting. And the other part of it is, if you have a master plan, that says how the land is supposed to be divided. And the other part of it is, if you have a master plan, there is a committee set up by statute. Typically, it is the planning board, but they enact this as a subcommittee. And they're to see that the master plan is appropriately and properly funded, meaning assets are being purchased. It's done, I don't know why it's done outside the select board, but ours is the recommendation which the planning board already approved last Thursday. So I'm here tonight to present what they approved to the select board. This is for you to consider putting it on your warrant articles. And tomorrow night I'm going to the finance committee. Page 3.
Jack, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Will you be presenting the same presentation to the finance committee tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Identical?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
We do that at, I shouldn't say courtesy per se, but we owe this to the planning board, then to the select board, and then the same one goes to the finance committee.
Yeah, I saw it on the agenda, I just want to make sure it was identical.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. We use a process which we identify the 6 types of classifications on page 3. The wording on urgent and necessary, one is safety and one is immediate need. They fall in the same year 1. If somebody was desirable, deferrable, or premature, it'd be out in the future years. So we're here tonight just for those that are urgent and necessary. If you would go to the next page, 6 and 7, this is what we call the whiteboard. Whoops, did I skip over?
You skipped 4 and 5.
Sorry. If you look at this, we're required by statute to do at least a look ahead 6 years. So this is basically all the departments, all the major equipment, and capital equipment is defined basically by more than $15,000 purchase and usable more than 1 year. And that could be a vehicle, that could be a roof on a building, it could be a new building, sewer for the town if one needed to have it. So basically what here is, this is sort of the eye chart. This is all the large capital equipment the town of Weare owns. We have all the capital reserve funds listed in the center there, you'll see, and the current balances. Some of these may be in the process of purchasing and stuff, so that the numbers may be overly inflated, which may be already encumbered. Then 2023 is this year's request. And then 2024, 5, 6, 7, and 8 make up the balance of the 6 years look ahead. And the bottom, we include a total, and we include our long-term and short-term debt. In this case, we only have long-term, which is the DPW bond, which is remaining and it finishes up in 2026. And then the road preservation bond finishes up in 2029. And typically a bond goes down each year because of the balance. Any questions on that? Moving on to 6 and 7. This is what we call our whiteboard. I will say that, having done this for 10 years, all the department heads got very good at doing this as far as we've done these 6-year look ahead, so there shouldn't be many surprises coming up. So everybody kind of knows what the drill is, and as a result, we typically get things that are required in the current year that are not a operating budget, which we used to have problems with. So basically what we do is, this is the residue of all the meetings we have, and we itemize it here on these 2 pages. And you can see fire department, I'll go into each one of these more in detail. Fire department, public works, police, parks and rec. And basically the gross requests in this year, 2023, are $1.378 million. Offset by block grants, which is what you pay for. We get it from the state for offsetting our road reconstruction budget, and also the fire articles come out of the equipment budget. For the net request for 2023 of $974,000. And the impacts to the tax rate for new requests is 76 cents, if this all passes. The debt service is 34 cents for a $1.10 on the tax rate. And this is based on what we got from Naomi as far as, I should say from Beth. At this point, I'd like to move on to fire. Fire has 2 requests this year. Requesting 25 pages for call personnel. If anybody needs to know who they are, we can talk to them. Oh, I guess Bobby's not here.
You can talk to me, I'm one.
Very good. Anybody who's on call, either permanent or call basis. I guess there's some difficulties in reprogramming from Goffstown dispatch to Capitol. And this is essentially, as my expert might validate, that this is how people get paged out for any time there's an issue. And everybody knows what's going on. Replacing 15 to 20-year-old pages, most unserviceable at this time. Excuse me. Next one is utility truck replacement. This is the F-350. There's a utility body on the back. And this year, a request is for $105,000, for a total of $120,000 for the fire department. And this is basically used to, on inclement weather or difficulties of, be it driveways, Class 6 private roads, and the extensive Clough State Park area. These would go with the, as I understand, these would go with the ambulance for making sure that they have passable roads to go to the location.
Jack, can I just touch on that one?
Sure.
That vehicle has served 3 different purposes in its lifetime with us. Initially it was bought as the forestry truck.
True.
They pulled the skid tank out when we got the forestry that we currently have, and then it became the chief's vehicle for a time. It was the command vehicle, and then the pickup body got removed and the flatbed was put on and became the utility, and even served as the chief's vehicle for a short time with that utility body on it. It has a snow plow on it, and that is, I mean, it's not to plow the roads, but again, it's there to bust driveways open if they haven't been plowed, to get the ambulance up there, emergency services. There is a small sander we put in the back of it, but definitely has its purpose with the department.
Correct. And I guess it's going to be an equivalent vehicle as far as the four-wheel drive with a plow and all the chattel that comes with it. So that's the request for $120,000 for the police, for the fire department, and that will come out of the equipment fund for zero impact to taxes. And we've looked forwards on the equipment fund, and there's adequacy in that fund to cover these this year.
Jack, what's going to happen with this truck if,
I believe that's going to go, if I've heard it correctly, going to go to the highway department for their support.
highway?
Highway, town highway.
Okay.
Any other questions? Today, the police department this year has actually requested 2, and the CIP decided on the cruiser replacement. That has basically gone up 10%. That's the number we have baked in here. The chief has not got real numbers, but we know what last year's real numbers was, and he added 10% for this. And it winds up being 6 cents on the tax rate. And basically, it's the same as the Tahoe we purchased in the past. Larger cargo space, ergonomic design, as we said, 10%. So I won't go in detail, but there is backup from the chief and his department on page 11, 12, and 13, which shows the mileages, and the chief will point out, I'm sure he will if I ask him, there's an equivalent of certain miles for every hours that's been idling, equivalent miles on the part of the transmission and the engine and all auxiliary stuff. That actually is a wear and tear. So you can actually look at the actual mileage. You look at the engine idle equivalent miles, and the total on the right-hand side. And page 12 shows you the cost of repairs, and 13 is a notional replacement schedule for his fleet, and looking out till 2030. No questions, Parks and Rec?
Back on the PD fleet management history cost page, the last column, maintenance cost, that's combined through the whole department, correct?
I believe so, for the vehicles.
Page 12, chief. That last column is combined for the year in total, right?
Correct.
Okay,
In 2022, obviously, it's gonna be close to 20,000.
right. No, I get that, I was looking down through and I remember that 56,000 number sticking out, so I just wanna make sure that that was a combined number, that's all.
That's true.
So, thank you.
And moving on to Parks and Rec, they're requesting multiple year funding of up to $190,000 over 6 years. And what they're requesting for the $20,000 for this year is to go into a capital reserve fund. We're basically serving an engineering study, and they're looking to replace, upgrade, refurbish, or whatever you want to use, for the 1976 tennis courts. And speaking with the representative that came here, I don't think there's a big urgency for them to put it into the existing location or up at Idenson Field. But someplace there needs to be an upgrade. They did do I would call a superficial upgrade on the actual surface, to try to fill in the big holes and the big, basically, asphalt shrinks over time. You get cracks and everything else. So basically, they reflect back again, even though they did the best job they could. A year later is cracking. You can see the cracks. And not only tennis, but also pickleball. I wouldn't know what a pickleball was, but I hear it's all the rage. So the question is, creating this in the future to serve both those needs. And $20,000 is the request, 2 cents on the tax rate. Any questions? Moving on to Public Works.
Well, Jack, the only question I would have on that, it's 20,000 this year and then 20,000 for the next 6 years, correct?
2020, 50, 50, 50, 190. I think it's 6 years, 5 years, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Public Works Department. This year, Benji came in with 3 vehicles. The board decided 2 vehicles were appropriate. And principally, we wanted to try to keep the tax impact somewhat level from year to year. Occasionally, there's a major surprise that pops out of the bag we can't control, but for the most part. So, I believe this is last year's number. I asked Benji if he thought that was an adequate number when he came here in September, and he said it was. And he basically buys a truck. Whoever will sell him the truck for the lowest price. And these trucks, unlike a small truck, you can specify the cat engine, the transmissions, the differentials, rear ends. So you're basically buying an assembled truck, and he likes keeping, at least what he was trying to do in the past, is even though you can get a myriad of International or a Western Star or a Kenworth, he likes to keep the same engines, transmissions, and rear ends for commonality of parts and repairs. So basically, the request here is for 2 vehicles, 2 trucks. Each is a tax rate impact at 20 cents. And moving down to the bottom line, road reconstruction, Benji asked for $600,000 this year, which would not come out of all taxes, but it would be, this is what we do for basically everything that's other than labor that happens in the summertime. And even for the crushed bank run, that's crushed, salt, calcium carbonate, whatever they sprinkle on the dirt roads,
Calcium
culverts,
chloride.
everything. So this is basically the catch-all for all expenses for stuff that's required for summer and that's not basically, it's an operating budget issue, so. There's an extra 40,000 in here because Benji came forwards with Clay. I think Clay's still here?
Yeah, he's out in the hallway.
Oh. That's okay. And so Clay worked with Benji, and the question was, Highway Department has made several repairs to the culverts, catch basins, if you will, over the years, and so $40,000 by Benji's estimate to do everything from the bottom of the hill, basically in front of the
Tennis court.
Legion, right? All the way up through to, it's like a U going up through
Yeah.
for the parking lot. So this is the 40,000, so I guess you could take that out of the 600, but
That reduces.
there's already money kind of earmarked for that. And because whatever they constructed last year, they did typically they reconstruct the road, put 2 inches of asphalt on, then the following year, fix any things that may have sagged, and then put 1 inch over top, which is the wear coat. So some of this money is already covered for next year's 1 inch, if you will. So, any questions on that? And you can see pictures on some happy guy on page 16, which shows the type of trucks that are being replaced. The position from Benji's position was, if you bought a 10-wheeler and you put a 16-yard body on it, and you throw all the material you can put in there for the sander. These bodies are equipped with sanders. And you got the plows and everything else. It's a lot of weight on that vehicle. And especially if you overload 6-wheelers, you end up breaking rear ends, tires, rims, and everything else. So going to the slightly smaller body and still having a sander on a 12-wheeler, they haven't had any problems with that sort of a recipe for buying vehicles. And there's some standard rust you would see on these old bodies, which aren't the Hardox anti-corrosion steel. And if you want to see which vehicles, and I take it with this grain of salt, T5 has already been purchased last year, yet to show up.
Right,
It's slated for T5 unless something else blows up.
in between.
You know what I'm saying? So if everything's equal, T5 will be replaced with that vehicle. This year, for these 2 requests, it's 7 and 8. Again, if something else blows up, these are the worst of the worst today, but that may be the best of the bunch next year, anyways along the way. So again, hours and miles, and then here's all the rest of the equipment for the rest of the DPW stuff. And we even tried a show going way out in time, out to 2034. And again, as you further get out here, the less fidelity we have on the numbers and the right equipment. So it's a schedule that tries to push out so we can see where the big expenses are coming from. Fleet rotation, again, this shows our history, whereas I know people will say, well, 2009 was a terrible year. Well, we've had roads every year. So, but we took a hiatus for 6 years, and we took another hiatus
last year, the year before?
year before, I think.
Year
So
before.
the point I'm making is, unfortunately, we're dealing, and without encumbering the town too hard with buying all new equipment, that would be kind of goofy. So we're looking at 2 more this year. And then page 21 is actually the eye chart, which finishes this pitch. And it basically shows history looking from the left of the vertical black line, and to the right is the future, and 2023 is this year. So if you look at this year, you'll see we have a payment of $146,054 for the garage, and $284,970 for the road reconstruction for $431,034. So we have no short-term debt anymore. We haven't been in the leasing business for a while. So the total capital equipment for this year, coming off the previous page, is $1.378 million. And if you took your debt plus that, it's 1.809034. Then offsetting revenues applied, we come down here, and amount funded by property tax is 1.404068, and that's down from last year of 1.474126. So basically, the 2023 impact is 110 per thousand, and 22 was 115. Couple things here, we're buying a little less, and the tax base expanded. So, but the net is 5 cents less than last year.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jack. Great work, Jack.
Okay, we'll go to the bridge discussion with Jason.
All right.
I'm all right.
Well, I just wanted to come in and talk to you guys about what we had planned for River Road this winter. Fortunately, we're not going to be able to take any of our 10-wheelers over the bridge on account of the weight rating.
Right.
We're a little slim on part-time help for our 1-tons as well, so we're going to have to take a pickup over it and
Yeah.
salt it, I guess, with
Yeah.
with our 1-ton.
Yeah, it's still gonna be maintained, so.
It's still gonna be maintained. It's overweight. I mean, our weight restriction hasn't stopped, home heat trucks, propane trucks, and
No.
a lot of stuff from going over it. The repair that we're gonna try to do on the bridge deck itself, we're gonna have to close the bridge down for a day to get that done.
Yep.
We're gonna take our 2 electric signs down there a few days in advance.
Yep.
Let everybody know. Basically wanted to get you guys' approval on that.
Yeah, so the scope of the work is obviously there's a little bit of the steel that has obviously been exposed and is
Yep.
not in good shape, so you're gonna replace that steel and pull a hot top over it to
Yep.
mend it and make it usable again for
Yep.
6 tons.
I had a pretty good conversation with Tom,
Okay,
engineer, about that, and
Okay.
we came up with that plan.
yep, and the wheels are in motion, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, we got the bridge deck ordered.
Okay,
I talked to 3 or 4 asphalt companies, and
they're open.
RMD was the only one who said that they would do it, only because they
The
do
relationship with us.
a lot of our stuff, so.
Okay, well, it's good to have that relationship.
If that falls through, I mean, the one plant we can still get asphalt to past December 9th. It's open till December 23rd, but if we get winter hit real hard, they're gonna shut down.
Of course they will, yeah, yeah. So, it's
we're
all on
gonna-
time.
We're gonna go get some of the high-performance patch, Pike calls it.
High
If we have
performance,
to
okay.
put that in a hot box or something, we'll
Yeah.
do that, but
Yeah,
our ideal
will be hot.
is hot top.
Okay. Very good.
Alrighty.
Jason, is there any way we can, as you said, the fuel trucks, the propane trucks, ignoring rolling the dice across the bridge, right? I mean, is there any way we can increase the signage or somehow get that risk level out there?
I don't think it's a signage issue.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
maybe we could ask the police to go down there and monitor.
Well, somehow or another, though, I think the people need to understand if they put a wheel through it, they're gonna own it. If they ignore
Yeah,
the
for
sign.
sure, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
posted, if somebody drives over it in a truck that weighs 50,000 pounds and they fall through the bridge, then
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gotta be on
our due
them.
diligence was there.
Is there
Yeah.
anything there that says pass at your own risk?
I don't think we're at that point yet. Not
Well,
yet.
really?
Yeah,
We're
that
get-
was,
Sounds like it is if
we're
they're
get-
using it.
We're getting close, but it's still rated by the state for, it's 6 tons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
they haven't been back, but I'm only curious, do you think electric sign, like if we, I mean, I don't know, somehow just, what I don't wanna see us obviously is lose the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Totally. So we put a wheel through it this winter, we're gonna lose the bridge. This patch we're putting on there is because we actually have a hole in the deck. And we have that section out in the middle that is tender. I mean, it's
Yeah,
recessed.
we have enough, I ordered enough steel to where we can
Fix them
cut
both.
that out and
Yeah.
do the same thing there.
I'm just wondering if somehow or another we can get keep one of the bigger signs down there with a, warning, something that might get them to think twice about getting across it, but,
Yeah, we can try to put the electric sign out, but,
But-
I mean, we have I think it's a 2x5.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
you had a nice
fluorescent
sign
thing.
made up that's down there and
Yeah, I
and
see
very
it.
well presented, yeah.
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 I don't see any other way of kind of curtailing that.
No.
The only way is enforcement, and, I mean, the police department's already
Busy
stretched
enough.
thin
Yeah.
as it is,
We
but.
go down there on occasion.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't sit on it. but-
I guess my question would be, Chief, and maybe you can pull a light on this, is what is the enforcement that can be done by the department if they do catch, say,
Yeah,
you
what's-
know,
So we don't have weight scales, so we have to check registration, which obviously they'd be over the weight limit, then we could issue a ticket.
okay,
And
We
what,
call on state police too, if we really want a weight scale.
right.
But
But
it'd be easier just for us to
Right.
check the registration.
and what is that ticket?
What is it?
Yeah.
Like, how much is it?
Yeah, the value of it.
So just like any ticket, it would go to the court.
It's a non-moving
The person would have
violation.
to plead not guilty first, it would go to the court, and then our prosecutor would get it and negotiate a fine or what have you.
But it's still a non-moving violation, right, being overweight?
That I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it is. It's basically it's just pay it and,
Yeah, but word of mouth, I mean,
yeah.
all of a sudden if people start thinking, I mean, it's like,
We post what we do every month.
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's like driving through Mount Vernon. There's nobody that goes fast through Mount Vernon, ever.
Yeah, but again, it's.
Just because
it's-
everyone knows Mount Vernon, you're gonna you go pull over the speed limit, you're getting arrested there.
It's the ability and the,
Chief, anything you guys can do to help us there, because we do have a very tender bridge, so
Sure, no,
if we can
make a
start,
Point to go down there.
yeah, if we can start getting the word out on the street that it's patrolled more often and that there's a chance they're gonna get ticketed, that would be a big help.
You're not gonna see a lot of people doing it during the day.
No.
You're gonna see all the guys who are headed out at 4 o'clock in the morning
yeah.
that are saying, screw this, I'm not
Yeah.
going around.
The thing is, they see us, they just go on the CB and say, cops are on River Road.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
That's
gotta,
why we don't get a whole lot of tickets on there.
gotta hide better.
yeah, go stealth.
Yeah.
But if if you're seeing oil trucks and stuff run that road, I mean, that's not a good thing. That's
No.
surely over 6 ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's all
mean-
33.
The truck's over 6 ton.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all 33 on the wheels, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, again, we do what we can do with the resources we have,
Yeah,
so.
we can make calls to the companies, but
Yeah,
whether that affects anything, I don't.
Probably not.
maybe. I mean, it could, if you get a unit number and
Yeah.
just disregarding, posted signs,
Yeah.
maybe. But it's only one driver with one company, so.
Yeah, and you gotta be down there to catch them.
Exactly, to get the unit number off of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. All right.
Anything else that's you need from us?
I don't think so. We've been getting work done steady.
Excellent, well, we appreciate
I
it.
got a question for Jason.
Well, then, go ahead.
A Couple weeks ago, you came in and said the motor in the mower tractor was junk.
Yep.
Is that tractor worth buying a motor for,
Or repairing it,
or
period.
repairing what's there,
No,
so the tractor's not worth it.
no,
This is this is the 94 New Holland?
yeah.
It's 1,380 hours supposedly on it?
That's not a lot of hours.
No, that's
Tells
not.
that cluster's been changed.
Sounds like something else.
Before we got it, it got on fire,
Yeah.
and it's been,
So that's probably been replaced.
Yeah.
That cluster's probably been replaced then.
Yeah.
It's probably got way more than that on
it
it.
came from another municipality.
Yeah.
I mean, when one municipality gets rid of something,
There's a reason for
Usually
it.
there's something wrong, yeah.
we don't
They're
We don't
notorious.
get
Now
rid of
that-
good plow trucks.
But that mower head attachment can be moved over to another unit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if we buy another
A regular tractor.
Yeah, it's just a 3-point hitch.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, counterweight on the left rear and call it a victory.
So have you researched a motor for it?
I've got a few prices, and between prices, I know we don't count on labor that much, but
Of course, right, but no, it's-
between prices and the effort and whatever else you get into once you split a tractor apart, clutch,
right,
Yes.
yeah.
it's just not worth it,
Yeah,
in my
you'd
opinion.
need to replace them both too. What's the horsepower on it?
It's about 75, I think,
Okay,
70,
so that's
75.
not too bad.
Yeah.
No, that mower needs minimum 70 to run.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, hey, thanks for coming out.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right. Recognize Clay at the library. Budget presentation.
Go, you can pass them around.
Thank you.
Yep, my name's Clay Creasy. I'm the director of the Weare Public Library. And this was the budget that was approved by the Selectmen a few weeks ago. The good news is that I have, since they approved this, I have,
Clay, you mean the library trustees?
yeah.
Because this is the first we've seen it. You said selectmen, that's why I just want to make sure.
Oh, yeah, the library trustees, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're talking all the same right people.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, those folks, yeah, okay.
Those folks.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that we were previously on Rhymes oil, but we have switched to Irving oil, which is the same plan that the town is on. And because of that, I mean, like, our last bill with Rhymes oil, it was like, we were charged $6.20 a gallon.
Yeah.
And Irving, it's, I don't know, somewhere around less than $3 a gallon, you know?
Oh,
So-
wow.
So that could greatly reduce our fuel expense. I mean, conservatively, I could knock like $1,700 off of this for our fuel costs. Because of that, would you prefer that I go back to the selectmen and have them approve of?
Trustees.
Trustees,
Sorry, trustees. My cold medicine's wearing off. Okay. And have them approve of a new budget with that reduction? Should I do that?
I think you're safe to do your presentation tonight. We'll take that
Okay.
in mindset, and then if you want to just email us over a copy, run it by them and email us over a copy, similar to this.
Okay.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay. Well, my presentation mostly is just, there's not really much to say because there's not that much as far as changes in our budget. Electricity has gone up. I mean, I'm estimating it's going to go up a bit more, so it's about 10% increase, a little bit for fuel, but, we already discussed the fuel. The big increase, though, is building maintenance. And it was interesting, like when I came here for 2020, the building maintenance budget was about $7,700, and I cut it in half for the next year. And in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have, because, you know, we run into issues like we have this year with us not being able to cover the landscaping expenses and me having to come to you guys for help with those costs. So this year, thankfully, you've funded for us about $1,200 worth of extra landscaping expenses, and this would take care of that. That also, I've exceeded, because my budget from last year for maintenance was $3,000. I've already exceeded that about by $400, so I add that $400 plus approximately the $1,200. That's how I got the $1,600 increase. But it's all ballpark, you know. And the problem with maintenance is there's always surprise issues that come up all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether I can, you know, factor in like inspections. I know those inspections are going to happen. But for the most part, a lot of these repairs, it's an old building. We're going to need like maybe, a plumbing issue or, paint or, we had, a leak and I had to replace ceiling tiles, just et cetera, et cetera. I could go through the whole list of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Things
Incidentals, though. Incidentals.
Right, the incidentals that I've paid for in the last couple of years. So that's why, that's why I'm increasing the maintenance cost to in anticipation that, more crazy things are gonna happen, because it's again, it's an old building, so. The increase in software, just because of the increase of our software expenses, most notably, the biggest chunk of that is Biblionics, which does our cataloging system. And just other miscellaneous things, we use Canva, and other, software for editing images and for our promotions, just things like that. And also firewall as well. We do firewall with Summit Computing. So, are there any questions? I'm just going to keep this short and sweet.
No.
The increase in payroll that was was approved by warrant articles number 4 and 5. So that's why there's an increase in payroll.
No, I mean, I personally think it looks like a pretty tight budget to me.
Yeah, very straightforward.
Yes. Yeah, and then, like you said, if you calculate down that fuel a little bit, even if you're conservative at saving $1,000, I still think, and obviously we put the windows in, so that's gonna help.
Right.
A little bit more efficiency. Will we see it? Maybe negligible, but you'll probably be seeing a little bit, so.
Yeah, and the blinds as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think we'll probably see a little more return on that line in the future, but obviously we don't want to shortchange ourselves.
Right.
But I think we're talking less than $1,000 increase, honestly, if that number gets altered like you say it is. So I think we're definitely, I think it's good. Myself. Any other board members have any comments, questions for Clay?
I just have one, Clay. We talked about it one day when I stopped at the library, and I asked you if you knew what the R value was up in the attic space. And you said you didn't, but I'm just kind of curious, because with the way fuel is going, it might be nice to know that, what it is, if it's R25, 4, or R30, or whatever, because, an extra 6 or 8 inches of insulation up there for $1,500 or so might save you a lot of money in the end.
Right.
Probably pay for itself in a year with the price of fuel.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. If you get to it.
Yep, I'll look into that. I don't even know how to access the attic. I know we have one, I just don't, you know how to get there?
Well,
I've never been up there.
There used to be a panel that you could access, a small panel in the ceiling. I don't know, I haven't even noticed it.
It was blocked off, is my understanding.
They may have, when they added that, they may have blocked it off. like you
Maybe
said.
Romeo could
Yeah.
help him.
Yeah,
I'll stop
We'll be there
someday.
on the 29th, so we could look at it then. That's the walkthrough date.
was it the 28th, the Monday, or maybe it was the
29th.
29th of Tuesday.
Said the week of the 28th.
It's the 29th.
The
with-
29th, the
with
Tuesday,
the rain-
okay,
with the
that's
rain
right,
day- With the rain day being the 30th.
that's right,
So
yeah.
we can look at that after that. One question for you, for that walkthrough, have you had any response?
I've contacted 7 of the contractors, and 3 have confirmed that they're coming. The other
Okay,
4
that's-
haven't.
That's a good turnout.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I should probably contact some more just in case, if like one of them doesn't show up, one of the
Sure,
3
it wouldn't
doesn't.
hurt just to do a last minute follow-up.
Right.
The other thing is the imagery that we took when we rented the lift. Do you have those pictures?
Yes.
Because several of those will want to print. Possibly you and I could have a phone conversation
Okay,
about which ones, so we'll want that. That's really the critical part of the handout, that and the scope of work.
okay, so.
There's really the three real images we need are the top of the chimney that shows that section, the flue missing. There's 2 images of it that I sent to you.
Right,
Some of the flashing that you'll see this flashing that has the nails in it. That image is important. They can't see that from the ground. And a few places.
Kevin, I think we're
where-
getting a little off topic.
Okay,
We were talking about the
I'm
budget.
definitely off topic, but I just have him as,
Okay.
okay.
yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll have this printed. Yeah.
Yeah, this week's gonna fly by with the holiday.
Right,
Okay,
that's true.
Thank you.
Very good.
So, do is the finance committee going to review this tomorrow night?
Are they on tomorrow night?
They are, but I only had CIP.
Oh, okay, all right,
So,
okay,
you got some time.
all right,
A little bit breathing room.
all right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Clay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ricky, the cemetery burial plot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not done.
Okay.
Laura said they didn't need to come.
Okay.
You gonna share the table?
Oh, it's that guy presenting now.
Am I up?
I believe you're up, chief.
All right.
So the next item on the discussion is going to be the 2023 Police Department presentation. I'll recognize Chief Moore as he gets set
That
up.
one? You wanna hold it?
Pocket.
So y'all know how I'm usually a little long-winded. Set a record tonight.
What? Long-winded? No. I don't think so.
So a couple of announcements while I'm passing these out and setting everything up.
Yeah, I get a little
Oh, you
carried
too?
away.
I didn't.
Was this-
Good news
was
and
it-
bad news.
Was this a lot of your budget, or?
One budget, one 24/7.
Yeah, but how much was this of your budget, was it?
Oh. Light work. Let's see, so, good news, Officer Valero was selected for a state award from the New Hampshire Office of Highway Safety for his work in identifying and removing impaired drivers from the roadway. Lieutenant Hebert just graduated with the Trilogy Award, which is a national award. It's an FBI Leadership School Series. He completed the 3-part series and is now a Trilogy Award recipient. I don't know if Ware's ever had that, but that's a big deal. My department used to put people through that. Bad news kind of ties into the CIP. It goes with us being improperly equipped, the command vehicle. Before I left on vacation, I was doing an internal investigation based on an internal complaint from the Mountain Road incident. The way that incident was perceived to be handled is, from what I understand, and it's not official yet, but an officer will be leaving us. So that's coming down the road. Yes. From what I understand, he's already on the schedule for the department he's going to. That entire complaint would have been avoided if we had a command vehicle and were outfitted how we should be outfitted. Just to let you know. All right.
Do you have your presentation on your website?
Yes, this is available on the website. The CIP presentation's there, the budget presentation's there, and the 24/7 coverage, which I'll go over also tonight, will also be there.
I don't see the 23 budget, because your laptop's not working.
It did this last time.
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't like this building.
No, it does not like it. I don't know if it's some kind of security you got on it.
Yeah,
The
Doug,
website, all I see is 22.
let's see. Whoa. was not uploaded. We thought that got done. I watched him do it. Let me make sure it didn't come up. Oh, I do have it. I have a phone drive.
Oh, thanks, I was gonna have you email it to me.
Multiple backup plans. So we'll make sure that gets updated tomorrow. Is it okay if I put this in?
What's on? Yeah, I'm just kidding.
What's on it?
Here, I'll let you put it in.
Town computer, town computer.
That's all it is budget. There's only two things on there, a budget folder and a CIP folder.
All right, thanks.
I'll let that connect. Popping up.
It's it in, I know.
That's right.
It says I can't open it.
Are you kidding me? Okay. That's not working either.
Oh, you got handouts.
And I'm pretty sure what the problem is, Microsoft Office had an update that Doug had to update my computer, and I'm guessing the rest of the computers aren't updated. I don't know, something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was,
Anyway, I can go through it.
it was worth a shot.
Can you email it?
It's probably too large for that.
Yeah, it's a big folder.
That's
Put
probably
it into a
too large.
PDF file.
I've got it on
Do
my
it.
desktop. I don't have anything where I can email it anyway.
I'm gonna open the one you sent me a couple days ago, and then we'll just skip over like things that have changed.
Okay,
and-
that's fine. Yeah, that one would be.
It's
All right, well, I'll get going, and if she gets it up, that'd be great. And if not, we'll rock and roll.
What are we on first?
We're on the main budget.
Okay.
All right, so obviously, we're in a continuing budget deficit. 2020 failed town vote, 2020, or 2021 failed town vote, and that's a little misprint I gotta fix. And 2022 failed the town vote. I did a comparison chart, which everybody will be able to see, comparing the default budget adjusted for annual inflation, not compounding those. Currently, the default budget for the police department is $1,742,551. If I adjusted that for the 8.2 inflation rate currently, I'd be at $1,885,440. I'm not even asking for anywhere close to that, about $50,000 less. Once we get through this, it'd be, essentially my proposed budget comes out to $1,832,181. There's a deficit of $84,907, just getting that out there ahead. As you know, I break it down by salary and benefits and then all my operational issues. Salary and benefits is 83.7% of my budget. The biggest increases since I've been here over the last few years have been state-driven. The New Hampshire retirement system has continually increased its contributions. Between 2020 to 2023, those contributions paid by the town have gone up $90,035. So that's a big driving force behind my budget. Going into my operational lines, and if anybody just has a question, I've been told I go fast through this, just raise your hand. Yeah. Police prosecutorial evidence collection. So this is an increase in the line. We do a lot of stuff on this line, towing cars, DUI blood draws, when we have to go take people to the hospital to get blood drawn, evidence supplies. Years ago, I think 2 years ago, I got a letter from the CAC, which is Child Advocacy Center. Whenever we get a complaint of a sexual assault investigation against a child, They're the ones who actually do the debrief of the victim. In last year, they helped us with 13 cases. Each case, they spend on average about $1,300, so they spend about almost $17,000 on those cases. They're just requesting departments which use their resources, put $1,000 in the budget line to help fund them for their expenses. Line 252, police record storage. So this is a line I had to create a few years ago when we ran out of storage within the department. We store approximately 80 boxes, I believe they're 27-gallon boxes of documents which are required to keep under RSA 33A 3-A. We can't get rid of them, we have to keep them on file, so they're in climate-controlled storage, fire suppression system, the whole deal. We pay $75 a month, $900 annually. And the budget's for $1,000 because if we go there to retrieve documents out of it, we get charged for every box they pull a few dollars.
Now, when did we, I remember this vaguely, but when did we enter into that storage? That was
About 2 years ago.
2 years ago? Thought-
Yep. We've got the rolling file cabinet system, and we were totally out. We had nowhere else to put files.
Right.
And
No, I
obviously we
remember
have-
that.
yeah, the
I just
active means.
want to know the timeline, that's all.
Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
Okay.
Line 252, I'm sorry, line 253, police prosecutorial services. So this used to be a $78,000 line when we had a attorney as our prosecutor. That contract was ended in 2020, and because it was contractual, the funding does not turn over. It has to be voter approved. We still spend money on a prosecutor. We have an attorney on retainer for $6,000 a year, plus we put a supplement in there in case he has to represent us in court, in case we have any conflict of interest or what have you. He only charges us $55 an hour. If he does that, tell me where you can find an attorney for $55 an hour. We also pay a stipend to our in-house prosecutor, Officer Perslow. Obviously, she has to do a lot of extra work prosecuting cases. We came up with $6,000 for a stipend for her because that's equal to what somebody would get as a training stipend if they happen to train someone. Any questions on that line? Line 254. So no change. We had to do some work to get this back within budget, but we are right within budget. $16,000 in the police telephone line. It goes to our internal landlines. We have 5 mobile data terminals, which in our frontline vehicles, and everyone has a cell phone. Obviously, if our radios aren't available, cell phones will hopefully work. Of course, you know the Mountain Road incident, nothing worked.
Chief, how many landlines internal do you have?
That's a new number. We just canceled 3 or 4. Off the top of my head, we're at 5 or 6. One of those is a fax line. The front telephone right outside the window when you enter the lobby, that's its own line. There's a direct line, so certain law enforcement organizations can get to us without any delay. And then I believe there's 2 lines for the public to access us.
Okay. I just didn't know.
Yeah, so it's roughly 5 or 6. It was 7 or 8, and some of those we weren't using, so we ended those
Dropped them.
recently.
Okay.
To get back within budget.
Okay.
Any other questions with that one? Line 255, police dispatch. So this is a contractual increase. Goffstown IT now services our 5 mobile data terminals. The contract went from $50,274 to $62,676. So it was an increase of $12,402. Any questions about that?
Is that,
Big increase.
that also but that's also dispatch?
Yes,
contract?
dispatch and IT services.
Okay. What was the dispatch increase roughly, do we know?
It was cumulative, so I know it went up, but I didn't get the breakdown of what was what.
Okay.
I can ask if you'd
No,
like
that's
me to.
fine.
Okay, line 256, police recruitment. I'm actually reducing this one based on the current fees we're charged. I'm leaving enough in there for us to perform 3 full background investigations annually, which gives us $1,750 per candidate. That's, of course, for someone who's entering law enforcement with zero experience. It only costs us $800 just for a background investigation if we do get someone certified. I will mention this again because I've mentioned before, law enforcement's like a pendulum. A couple years ago, the pendulum was definitely swinging in small towns' favor. It's not anymore. It's going to be very difficult to fill positions. And I'll go over this later on, but we start with a written test. Great Bay testing centers used to get 150, 200 people just a few years ago. 17 people just showed up for the latest test. No one wants to do this job.
I think that that's a shared consensus in any labor market now.
Yeah. But
Harder with yours, but any labor market.
yeah, I think we're suffering more than others.
Yeah.
Police accreditation, line 257, leaving $1 in there. We were CALIA certified. Of course, we ended that in 2019 due to inadequate staffing. I will mention that New Hampshire is getting its own accreditation process. They're in the final stages of finalizing that, and once they do, we'll look at that to see what that entails. Line 258, building maintenance. So I did a slight increase, 500, just because anytime we're getting anything fixed in the building, vendors are adding fuel surcharges left and right. One vendor going about 5 miles was adding $55 to their bill for us. They came 4 times. I got on them pretty good. We only paid one of those, so I won't name them since they were working with us.
You listed a couple of things on here, roof leak. We just put a new roof on that building. It's leaking?
From the AC unit. The AC unit was leaking.
Oh, okay. I'm just thinking if it was a roof leak, then we need to have them come back and fix what they did.
Yeah, nah.
Okay.
There was a pipe in the condensation pipe got clogged and started leaking.
Okay, all right.
All right, next line is 259, evidence recovery storage. So again, the design of the building isn't sufficient for our needs, so we have to rent 2 bays. This has gone up, the monthly fee has gone up 4 times within the last year. Just last year, we were paying $260 a month. It's already up to $318. I've seen 2 increases within probably the last 60 days.
Just for grins, have you contacted the other ones that are in town?
No, I actually haven't. I've been so busy on
Okay.
other stuff.
Just a
haven't.
thought.
But yeah, I probably will,
Okay.
the way they're increasing
Yep.
stuff. We have to have 2 bays, one obviously for a vehicle. We have to put a vehicle in long-term storage as part of an evidence-related case.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one's for general items, larger items. For instance, when we had that commercial vehicle burglary and we recovered items, we have to put them somewhere. Our little evidence room within the building isn't sufficient to store all that stuff. So any questions about that one? All right. Line 261, police training, no changes. $15,000 is a good budget for training. I will share with you, I was talking to Officer Valerio before, and when he came to us, he told us kind of the direction he wanted to go, which involved several training evolutions, and he's very appreciative that we were able to provide that to him. So that's a good asset to have where we can try to retain our people.
Retain.
Just had that conversation 2 hours ago. Line 262, police printing, no changes. We use this for warning notices, department forms, business cards, various other items. Line 560, police dues.
Whoa,
No, 263.
I missed one, stick together.
Yeah, you put one too many zeros in
one
there.
too many zeros.
Yeah. Ain't 30 grand, it's 3 grand.
That's all right.
Yeah, just a shock.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah. The numbers person would catch
No, I
it.
see it. Yeah, yeah. Well, I had the comma in the right place anyway. So 3 grand. We're increasing this one by $3,000. Mountain Road, we had state police on scene who were calling for additional resources from their SWAT team. We cannot get a SWAT team deployed unless somebody's really actively shooting at us currently. Some of our neighboring jurisdictions have mentioned this association. It's $3,500 to join annually. However, if you put people on the team, it's $3,000. I asked them where they're based out of. The main assets are in Concord, so they're close, which is fantastic. The SWAT team actually from Hillsborough County is down in Londonderry. So this team makes much more sense to us. We usually have reason to call them out multiple times a year, and usually we're not getting the resources we need. So this is a big deal to
So
us.
who is this? Who is it composed of?
Multiple agencies. I didn't bring the flyer with me. It's a two-page flyer. Lots of Merrimack County, lots of Concord officers, but it's just various department. I can't remember the chief. It's a chief who's in charge of it, and I don't recall which town he's affiliated with. I've contacted him once to get him the basic information. I can get that flyer, scan it in, and send it to you.
Yeah, if you could, I'd appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
I got some questions on it, that's all.
Sure. Next line is 264, police mileage reimbursement, no change. Line 265, police rubbish removal. So we had a minor increase, and this was last year. If you recall, our old vendor was going up about $1,200 annually, and I found a new vendor who went up $3.33 a month. So very slight increase into what we were paying. Of course, this is also shared by the fire department, so, but we pay it out of our budget. Anybody got any questions? I can tell you what we actually did. You look confused.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Line 266, police cleaning services. So the line was reduced initially because the contract for the cleaner, it was over budget. However, there was no allowance in case we had to get a biological cleaning done, which we've had to do multiple cases. Usually what happens when that happens is we'll get retribution from the person once we prosecute them. For instance, we had a gentleman who we arrested, and I don't remember what the charge is, but he pretty much licked every part of our booking area. Well, obviously we can't leave it that. We have to get somebody to biologically clean that, $750, and once he sobered up, he stroked us a check for the $750. Of course, that goes in the general fund instead of our fund, so we can pay for it again. So this just allows for different cleanings in case we need it.
Okay.
Line 267, building janitorial supplies, no change. Line 268, police supplies. So it's an $8,000 line. Ammunition has me very concerned because it's skyrocketing. I left it alone like it is, but just that for our minimal shooting increased $1,500 in what we spent the prior year. So I'm watching it. This might definitely have to change the next year, or end of year funding or something. Anybody got any questions on that one? All right, line 269, taser equipment. So this is a non-funded line. Tasers have never been a part of our budget. So the taser equipment is going to be for batteries and cartridges, so we can certify on them annually for 15. To fund that is $3,500 a year.
They have shelf life beside the cartridges?
So the cartridges, you have to shoot 2 cartridges annually to qualify. So we order 2 cartridges for anybody, so that's the 30, and then we get one more set for any deployment. We do have deployments occasionally. So you're burning 30 just on training of the cartridges annually.
Didn't we just go into a contract with them a couple years ago?
Yes.
Okay, thought so. And this was for the tasers and the
Body-worn camera.
body-worn cameras?
Yeah, we're under contract, but it's never been in the budget.
Funded, right.
The next line, 270, this is for the tasers themselves. They're $1,950 each. I just ordered one for one that's getting ready to expire. I will have 3 expiring next summer. So I'll be coming to you for an end-of-year purchase for 3 in case the budget doesn't pass, because I've got to be able to buy those by next summer to make sure our guys still have tasers. Big benefit for keeping tasers under contract and keeping them within their life cycle management is they provide a $10 million liability insurance policy for tasers under contract.
And by that, you mean if it fails?
Yeah, if it fails, $10 million liability insurance policy,
Okay.
as long as the taser's within 5 years old. Line 614, police radio maintenance contract. We've talked about this before. No change to it. Just talking about changing vendors. Current vendor R&R, changing to 2-way. Police body-worn cameras, again, not funded. So this is just the license and media storage for the 15 body-worn cameras. Any questions on that one? Nope. All right. Computer equipment, I did increase this slightly as we get more involved in different things. We've added different programs. One is to,
Add a 0 to
I did that again?
23 proposed.
Yeah, I got a bad keyboard.
That's the problem.
You got a bad finger.
I can say, I call it the finger.
Oh, they'll tell you. That's not your finger. But we've added different programs, Police One inventory management, Zoom Shift, which allows us to schedule our officers, dog lookup online. We use that one frequently, but all those add to the cost of that line.
What is, can you expand a little bit on the Police One inventory?
Sure, so Police One is we use that for training also. We pay right about $1,000. It gives us all types of training, but it's a national vendor that everyone in law enforcement recognizes. They have an inventory management system. It's a couple $100 that we use to track all of our inventory. For instance, I just mentioned tasers expire in 5 years, so when
It reminds you of that.
yeah, when we purchase them, we'll enter them in, serial numbers, who is issued to, track any maintenance on it, and it gives us a projection of when we will need to replace it, when it's in the life cycle list. We try to track everything like that.
Makes sense.
All right. Line 274, body-worn camera equipment, again, not funded. Funding this would give us 3 body-worn cameras at $800 each annually, plus 1 docking bay. The docking bay is $1,500.
What is the difference between 272 and 274? They both say body-worn cameras.
272. So one is the cameras and one is the equipment. It's, the equipment is the actual camera themselves. The licensing and storage is 272. It's in the cloud.
Okay.
So that's for cloud storage. I
Okay.
believe we pay for 3 terabytes of storage, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
They told us we might have to increase that a couple years ago, but I haven't heard anything additional from them since.
Okay.
Plus licensing fees of Axon.
How long do we keep the footage for?
It depends. So if it's evidence, it might have to be kept indefinitely.
Okay.
Most stuff is just, I get automatic notices every 30 days. If we don't tag it, it'll automatically delete,
Delete, okay.
which is the majority of it.
Okay.
All right, line 275. So I did put a picture up there of just something we did. Prosecutor office, when we, instead of buying a new desk, which, for a commercial desk, that'd probably be $1,000. We just got some butcher block, stained it, and put it up on a couple file cabinets. Did a real good job, looks nice, but, we also try to save the town some money. But office equipment, that pays for chairs or whatever else we might need just to keep the building in good shape.
Okay.
Line 276, police office supplies, no change. $2,000. Pens, paper, et cetera. IMC server maintenance, so this is going to be a reduction. I've been watching this line for a couple of years because I was just expecting, they had a specific amount, 9,244, which just didn't set well with me, where they come up with that number. It wasn't a rounded number. We paid 2 bills out of there. It's not quite 85.50. So I'm reducing that by $694. Line 278, another reduction. We pay 2 companies out of this, 2 vendors out of this. We do have to pay shipping fees on toner cartridges now, which is new to us. But I left enough in there for that where we could reduce this line by $745. Line 279, postage. No change to this. It will probably be going down based on that e-ticket, which I have
Next
to
year.
bring up in a little bit, because there's a little snafu with that.
Okay.
Just on how we gotta pay for it.
Oh, okay.
Line 280, police fuel vehicles, so,
That was good.
set by you guys, $4.50, 7,000 gallons, so the budget for next year is 31.5. Line 281, no change, this is for safety medical gear, we're good there. Police vehicle repair, $10,000 is starting to worry me. 3 and 5 are both acting up, we're not replacing vehicles like we should, they're gonna start breaking. It's coming. 283, no change. I do have down at the bottom tire rotation.
What's the difference between the maintenance and vehicle repairs?
So repairs, if anything breaks, maintenance would never go away. Oil changes. I will mention the tire rotation winter, summer. They do make a tire now, which is a good all-season for police vehicles. Obviously, we need a different type of tire. Mark Phillips recommended to us, it's working good. So once we start going to that tire, yes, we'll have to replace them, twice as fast since we don't have the winters and the summers, but we won't have to pay that fee
Rotation.
twice a year, right, for rotations. So that'll save us a little bit. We undercoat all our vehicles to, make sure they don't rust out. Police books updates, no change. Just some of the charges we've had in that line years past. We didn't really do a lot of books last year because we had just done the books the year before. But as you can see, one book is $600 the entire budget when we do order it. Line 285, communications equipment. So I'm lowering this just because I'd have to raise it pretty substantially to get 2 radios a year, and I really don't need 2 radios a year. The radios last pretty good. I've got them lasting about 15 years once we buy one. One radio is $34.31, and then I left enough in there for any batteries or repairs that we might need for it. So I did reduce that by almost $1,000 in that line. Defensive force equipment training, no change. Some of the things we buy with that, targets, again, we'll use that line for some ammunition if we can. Police juvenile diversion projects. Do different things. Sometimes we've had the Boy Scouts down. We'll buy supplies to give them projects to complete. We get fingerprint kits. That's a misspell. It's not. Oh, I guess we fingerprint kids doing it. But we also interact with kids. Halloween, Patriotic Festival, and National Night Out, where we buy candy and glow sticks and stuff like that to give out. Police uniform maintenance, dry cleaning. So we just went to a new vendor to reduce our costs, so no change in there. Police officer uniforms equipment, line 289, increase, and I did an increase to get enough to buy a rifle every now and then and keep our handguns rotating, so I don't have to go to you every couple of years, every about approximately 7 years for a new departmental purchase of handguns. We'll be able to rotate them out and keep them going. So I would take 2,000 in my existing budget and add 2,000 because one rifle is about $4,000. So that, I just worked that in. Any questions about that one? Police ballistic equipment, this is one of my main unfunded lines, so default, I've got $1,760 in there. One bulletproof vest is $1,500. They last for 5 years. If I've got 15 people, I need 3 a year. That math doesn't add up. So helmets, when I first got here, we didn't have any helmets. I started ordering them. They were about $240 each now. They're up to $375. The Ukraine war is the driving force in ballistic equipment right now, why it's going up. The original vendor I was getting them from, everything they've got's going over there. They don't even fill stateside orders anymore. But for 3 helmets, 3 vests, 3 trauma plates, and 1 shield per year, increasing the budget $8,315. And that'll keep everything ballistic wise in rotation. Any questions about that line? CBA related, line 271, uniform allowance, $6,000. It gives full-time officers $500 annually and part-time officers $200 annually. So, to summarize, salary and benefit increases were $29,289. Decreases were $5,500, so in total, my salary and benefit line increased to $23,789. My operational expenses increased $72,751. I reduced them $11,633. So my total budget increased $84,907. Any questions? And when we were loading that, I'll go back to my, and Beth doesn't have to read this, my very first slide. So when I got here, because we don't put certain things in the budget, and we haven't, like tasers, body-worn cameras, when I got here, there was a budget deficit of $41,433. Budget failed. I increased it slightly to $52,718 in 2021. Budget failed. Deficit last year of $60,263. Budget failed. And right now, we're $84,907. And like I said, state's a big driving force behind that. They've increased the town contributions $90,035. So,
What was the 90,000 from?
that's where they increased the New Hampshire retirement system line.
Okay, yeah, okay.
All right, animal control budget. This one's fairly simple. I do have a plan for the new year. I've got something out there, I'm just waiting for confirmation. So, salary and benefits, no change. Line 529, professional services, so I increased this one, but all it is flip-flopping lines. We increased this one by 500 because if we do have to quarantine a dog or something like that with the SPCA, we are required to pay those fees, which can add up pretty quick. $100 would go very fast, so I've got $600 being proposed in there. Electricity, we obviously don't use the ACO building anymore, so this is going down to $1. Line 531, this is where I got the $500 from for the other line. Meeting seminars, again, this will be a different briefing after the new year. You'll see what I'm doing. I'm just waiting for confirmation. But we won't need as much training for the ACO. We'll put it that way. If it goes how I think it'll go. So that's why I can reduce this one. Line 532, supplies. This is just to maintain. Yes. So it was 542. I don't know where they got that number. I'm reducing it by $42 because I don't like those crazy numbers. I'm OCD, so $500 just to maintain our supply line. I don't mind putting it out there. 533. So the ACO vehicle, I do believe, will be used next year because what I proposed, I think, will be a home run. Actually, it was Beth's idea. She's hitting a home run. But I've already proposed it to where it needed to go, and we'll see how it plays out. But I'm just budgeting $30 a month for use of the ACO vehicle as far as fuel. Safety medical gear, no change, $100 in that line. Vehicle maintenance and repairs on the ACO vehicle, no change, $1,000 for the year. Shelter maintenance, obviously we don't maintain that building. That can go down to $1. So in summary, the default budget for the ACO was $16,302. My proposed $16,262, so I reduced it by $40.
So what's the grand scheme?
Of which one?
You had a plan.
Oh, it's coming. I gotta wait for them to confirm they want to do that.
Okay.
You'll probably find out pretty quick. I shouldn't have said that. No,
No.
yeah,
The answer is no.
direction it's going.
The answer is no.
Well, that's a good idea. All right, 24/7 coverage?
Okay, let's
Ready?
chat.
That's the other
You
one.
have it on here?
That's that other,
Well, I don't have it, because I took this from my email, remember?
oh yeah, I didn't email that one to you. All right. So currently, we cover 4 shifts, 10 hours of coverage per shift, so we're covering 20 hours a day. 2 different cycles during the week. We have a Sunday through Wednesday, 7 to 5, and a Wednesday through Saturday, 7 to 5, and then 5 to 3 on both of those. We have a minimum of 2 officers per shift by CBA for safety. We're a large town with almost 10,000 residents. We have no coverage between 3 and 7.
Do you have a lot of calls come in between 3 and 7?
Oh, I got that.
Well-
It's coming.
Keep clicking along, there's information.
Yep, I'll cover it. So who covers between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m.? Under mutual aid, which is New Hampshire RSA 106B15, enacted in 2015, a police employee shall not act within the limits of a town having a population of more than 3,000, so we're in there, except when, and pretty much exigent circumstances, or requested to act by an official of another law enforcement agency. So I put that out there because a lot of citizens in this town have incorrect assumptions of what actually does occur. They call 911, it goes to the main center, it could go to Goffstown. From there, they'll divert to state police, and we'll get to that. So since we're not on duty to request mutual aid, it really doesn't have to come. So, next line, what about the state police? So, they're short-staffed, as with most law enforcement agencies. They've got about 70 vacancies currently, and they provide coverage merely as a courtesy.
How many vacancies does Troop B have, do you know?
No, I don't know off the top of my head. And their lieutenant retired over the summer, and I haven't met their new lieutenant yet.
Okay. Isn't that who covers this, B, Troop B?
Yes.
Bravo, okay.
Neighboring agencies, assistant must be requested by us, no jurisdiction. They don't have any jurisdiction here unless certain exceptions, which are the exigent, they're pursuing someone into our town, or they're driving through and see something which would cause them to act. They just can't come because they're called. Examining for the calls for service between 3 and 7 since January 1st, 2021, so a little less than 2 years, we've had 153 calls for service. State police handled 27.5% of them, 42 out of the 153. The majority, 68%, were still handled by us. So the message, our guys getting off at 3, dispatch called them on the phone, hey, have you guys left yet? Well, I'm not too far off, I'll turn around and come back, or hold it until our guys come on at, 7 o'clock in the morning. In 2021, there were 92 calls for service. It just breaks them down to what type of calls. And there's a list there. I'll have this up tomorrow if people actually want to look to see what kind of calls. But, everything from commercial burglar alarms, residential burglar alarms, suspicious persons, suspicious vehicles, a lot of trees in the roadway, which obviously if somebody doesn't see the tree, that could be really serious. I did suggest to the BOS before, maybe we do a policy now, since the fire department is 24/7, they go out there and put cones out until we come on at 7 in the morning, at the minimum, Different stuff. 2022, this is just through the end of October, we've had 61 calls for service. That is on the same pace as 2021. We've handled almost 60%, state police just under 35%. Other agencies have handled 4 of the 61. Same types of calls. The one that concerns me, and untimely death. That's someone's loved one who has passed away during the night, and they're not getting assistance until we come back on at 7. It's not exactly a good situation. That's happened a couple times since I've been here.
What would be classified under that citizen assistance?
Could be anything. That's a pretty general category.
Catch-all bucket?
Sometimes it's, my husband didn't come to pick up the kid when he was supposed to, what can I do? Or, you know, it's a catch-all.
Okay.
The one, if I'm not mistaken, the one, that call was, a lady was complaining there were drones being flown from the wood line outside of her windows. If I recall off the top of my head, that's what that citizen assist was. Some notes that I did read from in the calls of service on a vehicle accident. State police said hold for Weare, not enough troopers to cover. Commercial burglar alarm, responsible party will call back once he's at school and let us know if he wants the state police to respond. He was told that there are no troopers currently in the area. Another vehicle accident, state police called, nearest troopers an hour out, will hold for Weare officers. Disabled motorists, state police advises they are not responding. They are over 40 minutes out and Weare will be on duty by then. Vehicle accident, notify state police, will send someone when they can. Unauthorized use of vehicle, given the state police, holding for Weare day shift. So, all right, so what is needed for 24/7 coverage? First thing we gotta have is we gotta have the budget pass. It makes no sense to try to add officers if we can't pay for what we have now. We also have to put the purchase of a vehicle annually in the budget. They're not being currently replaced to ensure our operations can be maintained, and increased uses will only compound the issue. And then we'd hire 4 full-time officers over 4 years. To do 24/7, we have to have a minimum of 13 certified officers, 4 days a week for coverage, and 15 officers for coverage all days of the week. So how do we get to it? Like I mentioned before, the biggest obstacle is the hiring of additional officers. I just mentioned the test that they gave. Only 17 people showed up. So my pleasure is going to see if there's anybody even in our area who might be interested in trying to apply with us. But the plan, if we're trying to get 24/7 coverage, is in 2023, if we're fully staffed, we'd hire 1 additional officer to get us to 13, and we'd cover 4 hours daily for the second officer, Wednesday through Saturday. In 2024, we'd hire another officer to get us to 14. The overtime coverage would go away. And what that would do, 2023 and 2024, we would have 24/7 coverage 4 days of the week. The other 3 we would not. 2025, if the numbers stay up, we would add the overtime back, hire another officer, and we would be at 24/7 coverage. 2026, we'd hire the last officer to take us to 16, and the overtime would go away.
Is there a flow chart on how you came up with these officer numbers needed that you can publish on your page?
What do you mean a flow chart?
So, we were, I guess, under the assumption, once upon a time, that the current staffing model we had could encompass 24/7 with some alterations to it. That may not be true, but that's what we were told. So I would like to see how we got from, how the logistics works out from 12 to 16.
Okay.
I just want, where how the shifts will be covered type thing, a model.
So I can give you a verbal on that. So the officers would be added. If we're covering Wednesday through Saturday, the 2023 and 2024 officer would be added to the night shift platoon on, which is right now 3 people if we're fully staffed, so they'd go up to 5. 2 people would drop down to cover the night shift, leaving the 3 who would be covering the evening shift. So you got the 1 floater for training, for leave, or what have you. There's a formula nationwide that for 1 car, you're supposed to have, it's like 2.7 officers is what it takes to fill 1 car.
Okay.
I know the Goffstown chief just asked for that because I saw him ask him for that. He
Right.
had that.
If there's something you could publish with that, I think it'd just.
Like how it would actually be staffed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do that.
okay. Because I personally, I mean, it's not that I don't trust you, I just don't understand how we got to the 16, that's all. So, I just want to see how we got to the 16, that's all.
So right now you got 3 per shift pretty much.
Yeah, no, I understand
Day,
that.
day, evening,
Yeah.
evening. because you got leave and you've got sick time
Right,
and
no,
everything else.
I get that.
So you're adding 2 to both the night shift crews, so 2 can drop down to cover the night shift, is what you're doing. Simple terms.
Okay. Put in a flow chart.
Yep. All right, so, and what are the numbers actually behind this? We have a budget deficit of 84,907, funding for a vehicle at 75,000. I did throw in there, we do the dam patrols, which could help lower that number and purchase some equipment. We got, we just did the summer patrols this year, and we're just over 7,500 just from summer, and we'll probably earn another $750, $800 from the winter patrols. So the hiring of 4 officers, what it looks like. Now, I did a step 9 with the bachelor's degree, which is the top paid officer, 4 ofs, which is $117,345. Overtime cost for 2023 would be $44,000. Increasing the budget, and on the very last page of this, you'll see what lines I had to increase proportionally, because I am increasing the number of officers, $19,215. So 2023 totals for the 1 extra person, $180,560. You throw in the budget, the vehicle, and balancing the budget, your total cost of $272,967. 2024, again, 1 officer, annual budget equipment cost, which would need to be increased, $125,235 total. 2025, the officer, the overtime, equipment, $158,235. 2026, 1 officer, annual budget cost, $125,235. So what's the tax impact on all that? 2023, it would be 21.18 cents per thousand. 2024, 9.72 cents per thousand. 2025, 12.28 cents per thousand. 2026, 9.72 cents per thousand. So the total impact of the project, 52.9 cents over the 4 years at the current rate.
Okay. Substantial.
Yeah.
No, I'm not, just, it's substantial. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Like I said, finding and keeping our officers is gonna be a challenge. You got
Oh.
other departments offering $21,000 sign-on bonuses. I will share, Nashua just published their new contract. A 3-year certified officer can go to Nashua, start at over $80,000, 6% for the next 3 years. So at the end of those 3 years, they would be over $95,000, plus way better benefits than what we offer.
And overtime.
We are way behind the 8 ball. It is what it is.
Any questions for the chief?
No, I don't.
I think it's a very good presentation you made.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll get it up. I'm not sure what happened. I'm gonna call Doug again and see what's going on with my computer again. Thanks, Beth. Your mom. Oh, the other thing, so the e-ticket.
Yes.
This is kind of simple, so I don't obviously have that in my budget. It was like, I want to say about $4,600. Can I get approval as an end of year purchase, which I've confirmed with Beth that I'm going to have a large amount in my salary line for an end of year purchase, because all we're doing is advancing the purchase. Once we submit the receipts, we get that back, and that goes back into the general fund per Beth. So all I need is somewhere to get the funds out of to make the purchase, so we can get reimbursed for the purchase. It was what you guys approved a couple weeks ago, us participating in. I want to say it was like $4,600.
Board members?
I have no problem, front money. Come on.
Yeah, all it is front money, and it goes back to the general fund once we get reimbursed.
Okay,
Sure, no
Okay.
problem.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
We're gonna see. Yeah, it was a snafu.
All right, brings us to manifest. Gonna order the treasurer to sign payroll and accounts payables checks dated November 23rd, 2022 included in the following manifest. Whoa. Payroll manifest, $78,713.53 for weekly and monthly payroll. Accounts payable of $100,354.82. John Stark, $250, and Weare School District, $300,000, for a total of $729,068.35. The following manifests were previously ordered to be signed at the November 7th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Payroll manifest, $68,888.91. Checks dated 11/17, and accounts payable of $11,115.15 for checks dated 11/17. As there's no Selectmen's meeting scheduled for Monday, November 28th, further order treasurer to sign payroll up to $80,000 for checks dated December 1st. And further, order treasurer to sign up to the amount of $90,000 for accounts payables that cannot wait until next scheduled meeting. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the Board of Selectmen by inclusion of the following in the manifest memo at the next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Move in second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Abstentions? Noes? Okay.
So do the easy thing first. We'll try to get through it. So at the conservation meeting, they gave, you've seen this before, Glenn DuBois
The trapping.
gets a trap permit up at,
Every year.
the Woods property.
Yep.
So they made a motion to allow him to trap. Let's see. Yeah, so basically, the selectmen signed that there. Conservation piece, and then there's a little bit of space for chairman to sign next to that.
We do this every year.
Every year,
I have to get my signature small.
yep.
Does that require a motion from us?
No, there's enough signatures on it, other
Okay.
than your.
Other than the one?
Other than the fishing game one.
Okay.
And then I think I'll go through my list.
Just if there's any highlights.
So, I got a couple of emails this afternoon, but I don't know what they were. They were part of an inclusion on the radio communication from, well, I think it was American Towers, but I couldn't make heads or tails of it, so I figured if it was something really exciting, somebody would be here to tell me about it.
Right. I already signed that one, but yeah, we can signature down there.
So let's go to River Road. River Road is on here. I may have to bow out and let Kevin try it. So we, as you know, I went to the state
Yep.
on the 9th of November.
Yep.
Tom Marshall and I went over and talked to the
These
gentleman
guys
from
You're
DOT.
gonna sign them,
And basically, what they've agreed to is, they'll move River Road forward into where Lull Road is.
Which is only one spot up.
Lull Road would then, come off the table altogether. So basically, what they're looking for confirmation from us is that they'll gladly move River Road ahead, Lull Road, but Lull Road can't be asked for in
In the future?
the future bridge.
Is there a timeline on that? Like 27?
So,
Yeah, let me, so,
it's
we,
not where
we,
out.
we basically are gonna replace, if we agree to this, okay? So we're gonna take River Road and place it where Lull is, which is 3 years out, okay? Lull Road comes off the table, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because Jacobs Engineering has proposed a plan for repair
On,
to Lull Road, okay? Which is in is something we can actually do, which is putting a bottom back into the culvert where it's rotted out. Do you know what's wrong with that?
Oh,
culvert?
I know where it is and kind of what ails it. I just don't know where the engineer was okay to go down there and take a look at it. I don't remember that ever coming to this
What-
board.
Yeah.
No, he's just done them before.
Oh,
So in our project, as far as feasibility of accepting this offer, is, what does that mean, right?
What's the price
How
tag?
do we eventually get Low Road up? You know, we don't want another failure. So he said in the past, on other projects, they have done repairs to those in the $100,000 range. With that being said, that would be work that we would be doing ourselves. It's fairly simple,
okay.
okay? So the committee is in favor of making this swap primarily for financial reasons and life cycle reasons, okay? We have gotten, as everyone had seen in Jacob's five-line proposal, where, I don't know where that piece of paper is, but we had last week, yes. 1, 2, and 3 on this is the repairs to, potential repairs and/or replacement on River Road. If we take the state 20/80, okay, 20% is ours, 80% is the state, 1, 2, and 3 come off here immediately. The reason being is the state will no longer approve corrugated galvanized decks. Okay?
Okay.
So it leaves us 4 and 5. Essentially, 4 is taking the existing bridge design, the truss design, replacing the entire trusses and basically
And the arches.
the whole bridge.
Just not the abutments.
In galvanized steel and use those same abutments.
Okay.
That, the cost for those materials, and now these are just round numbers, okay, so don't hold me to them to the penny. But that bridge would cost somewhere in the close to $2 million. We can then go to a total redesign, and there's a big caveat to that. That bridge has failed, has a whole bunch of parts. The galvanizing would be warranted for 3 years. The U.S. bridge replacement, which would have to be done by, in those materials, which we have a quote of, would be, they only have the 1 year warranty, as they originally did. The original bridge had a 1 year warranty. Any bridge we replace will only have a 1 year warranty, okay? Then we go to the 5, which is a complete replacement. That's being estimated by Jacobs at $3 million. That would be an I-beam bridge. That would be very similar, 4 pieces in concrete, essentially, okay? Concrete deck, concrete curbs.
But that's not using the original abutments.
Yes, just with modifications,
Okay.
okay? This is, again, coming from Tom Marshall, the engineer, a $3 million price tag. So we would own 20% of that $3 million, okay, or $600,000, which we currently have. So we can sign, we could commit to this because we do have the money in place, leaving 200, and I believe it's around $60,000, $860,
Could be just a whisker shot on either side, but
okay, for round numbers.
for round numbers, it works.
That leaves us enough to do the, which is number 1 here on this, the repairs to get us to 3 years. If you had looked at this,
Did we get a copy of that?
yeah, you did, didn't you?
We did, but the numbers were so blacked out, I couldn't read any of it. For some
Oh, I'm
reason.
sorry, well, you can certainly look at this one, okay?
I know we got that, but
Yeah, 'cause I forwarded it to you guys. What's blacked out probably is the life cycle cost.
yeah, I think it was. Yeah, page 1 was,
Okay, so
Go through.
Woody,
yeah, I don't remember where it is.
Woody's
but-
proposed here for the repairs to get us the 3 years to the state money is $124,000. Total cost, you have the breakdowns right there, Rick. So within that 260 we would have left, we could do the repairs.
Full all?
No, yes, the repairs to River and then do the repair to Low. The repair to Low is estimated between 15 and 20 years. It'll add to the life of that culvert. The big deal here with the $3 million option, which none of that is on the table tonight as far as a vote or an agreement, but the big thing there is the life cycle.
What's the difference between 4 and 5 in the life cycle?
Yeah, 15.
We can't guarantee the life cycle.
Wasn't that 15?
Well-
160, 170?
Yeah, we're talking about 60,
60 years or 75 years?
with proper maintenance, 60 years to 75 years.
On the galvanized truss with the steel, with the concrete deck.
Yeah,
And then the complete replacement would be,
75 year.
okay. And the money difference between the two?
It's almost $1 million.
Went from 2 million to 3 million.
But, just like the life cycle of the original bridge
Mhm.
was supposed to be, and with the climatic conditions, and it lasted 25 years.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be a 50 to 75 year bridge.
Mhm.
So there's no guarantee there.
With any of it?
Yeah, all the other major bridges, which I took the time to go and
Mhm.
check them out, the ones that we have that are been all updated, they're all I-beam bridges. I mean, the 4 pieces, 4 pieces of steel and concrete.
Concrete deck.
And I really, personally, when you look under that bridge and you look at, there's 1,120 bolts on the River Road Bridge. 1,120 bolts.
Did you have a few extra minutes to go count those, or?
Yeah, so it kind of tells you, well, I've read the book.
Oh, you read the book?
Yeah, I did.
He wasn't down standing in the
I was
river
gonna say,
counting the
that 1,
bolts.
2, 3, I lost count, yeah,
But
yeah.
no, it's really amazing, and it's just the numbers and parts and pieces of the design of that bridge just lend itself to failure. There's just so many parts and pieces. So,
And does the engineer feel that way, that it wasn't designed properly? This
the
Tom?
engineer has not made a statement saying that that bridge is an inadequate design. I think it would be a conflict of interest because he actually was working on that bridge in 1997, making $15 an hour.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's in here, we paid him in a number of pages. But US Bridge, who I have spoken to, US Bridge in the last 4 years has had to replace smaller towns in New England, 12 of those bridges, similar or less of a lifespan. It was a failure to start with. And then what they're replacing them with is the galvanized bridge. They're smaller, less traffic, and don't fall into the criteria probably in those towns to go to the state match because they have galvanized decks on them. If we go to the concrete deck, by the way, that's the bridge replacement. I don't know the associated costs with raising the road because we'd have to raise the road to meet it.
Because of the beams.
because
The beams would come up a
deck would
foot or
be
more,
up.
yeah.
So option 5 has,
It could be higher. And Tom is basically giving us now that we gathered up a bunch of information from US Bridge, real numbers, real quotes, he's going to be providing us an update of that form. The biggest thing today is to decide whether or not we agree to
move the bridge in the list.
move the bridge in the list, and then we can decide, do we want to go the full Galvy with the concrete deck? Because at that point, we'd be going in under state money, so we'd have to go concrete deck.
Oh.
Or do we go to the total bridge replacement
With steel girders.
with the steel girders, correct?
But did you say that's a future decision? really.
That's a future, I think that like Kevin said, I think the move tonight is just to verify that we as a board will move it from Lowell to River. Do you wanna see that or no?
Right.
No, but I'm gonna ask, Naomi, will you email me that again, that
Yeah,
thing?
well, I wouldn't waste any time on this because we should have,
I'm gonna get an updated one.
we should have within a couple days the
Oh, okay.
updated one, which will then, it'll fill in where, he had left out life cycle. So
Right.
it will get, he's real close to doing that. Yeah, it's really just, I mean, up to this moment, we were told, we assumed, we were told that we could not make this swap.
Now we're being told we can.
Now we are told we can, and all because of her due diligence, by the way. The town administrator should be applauded on this, because if we can end up with a 75-year bridge now for what we were gonna be spending to put back the
Like equipment.
very same exact thing for 25 years, it's really, and all because she had the initiative to get down there on a one-on-one and ask. So it's, really should be at least recognized.
So what, the memo we got from the state basically said they needed on letterhead from the town, so I kind of played with this memo. And what you also need to know is River Road Bridge was not enrolled in the state program.
Never.
Never was enrolled. So I kind of went in
How-
begging.
I mean, I guess, yeah, I'm in the same predicament, John, because
So it says.
it was never put in, not removed, it was never put in.
So we're ready, 26 is where we would move to
Okay,
for if we swap. So right now it's in there, currently enrolled, but River Road was not currently enrolled.
okay.
So the next time we could get on, there's already 60 bridges for 27 to 34. So we'd be looking on the next round if we stuck this original route.
Oh, yeah, we don't have that time.
So it's a no-brainer, because I explained to him that River Road is currently 66 tons, and that it's a priority of ours because of
The traffic load.
safety issues,
Yeah.
traffic.
Yeah.
So what I wrote, which they're looking for, I wrote a letter that you guys have to sign. There's one each here, you guys, and then I have one that doesn't say copy across the middle. And you guys can read, because I can't talk anymore.
Yeah,
But basically, it follows up from our meeting
yeah, I've already,
and what we need to do. And you also are acknowledging the fact that you will not put Low Road back in at any time. If
At
we
any
try
time,
to-
or,
If we try to, we won't get any funding.
Well, I guess,
But I think we've figured out how we could do it and not end up in a River Road situation in Low Road.
yeah, which is, I don't have a problem with that. My question is when, I mean, because everything has a life cycle, when can Low Road go back in?
So what I thought is let the engineer, I think we talked about Friday,
Yeah.
we talked
I mean,
about a fix.
Yeah, I have no problem with the fix with 120,000 or whatever and us repairing it. But the way that I'm understanding what you're saying is that even if the repair that we do, say it's $100,000 for a round number, we make the repair, the engineer signs off on it, everything's good, the life cycle is still only gonna be another 10 or 15 years for that culvert. Are we still now hand-tied to say, no, we cannot put Low Road back on there because we were told we couldn't by the state? I mean, everything, like I said, that's what I mean, everything has a life cycle. Is 2034 our number?
Part of the problem is they're willing to make a move,
Yeah,
but what's in there for Low Road is 477.
yeah,
What they're doing is they're stepping to the plate. and
substantially,
saying,
yeah.
We
Oh,
know
no,
it's $2 million plus.
Yeah, I understand all that. I understand the logistics of it. I just don't want Low Road to completely fall off the radar of everybody.
So I asked that question.
Yep.
Actually, so did Chris.
Right.
And I'm like, so what if it fails?
Yeah.
And Jason's answer was it becomes a dead-end road. And I don't know exactly where that
You
is.
got too many new houses up there now.
But, I mean, Jason sat with us, we were here till 7 o'clock.
Right.
Jason sat with us the whole entire time. The engineer, Kevin, myself, Chris, and Jason, and we, on paper, figured out how we could kind of do the fix.
Yeah. No, I'm,
There's no guarantee that it's
Yeah.
gonna be 2 years or
And
3 years.
the other thing was that if we did the work ourselves on Lowell Road, we could replace that culvert, which is something we could handle, okay, with our own people.
this is the one that's almost at Old Francistown, right? That
Yeah,
low road
yeah,
cover?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, making a dead end to me is not acceptable. That's
no.
not acceptable.
No.
Well, it wasn't necessarily meant,
Or is that,
No, I don't
is
think
that
it
on the, is that on the, that's on, no, Low Road's all paved. But that's the one at the Old Francistown end, right?
no, yeah, the top one's River Road.
No, I understand that, but the,
Bottom
What
one.
is there along the road?
that's Low Road, and isn't that almost at Old Francistown? That's
Yeah.
the only culvert I can think of
Yeah,
that's,
that's where it
big
is,
enough.
down there, just before you get to the intersection.
yeah,
This is the water that comes down through from Peacock Brook.
right, and flows across.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
But I think if we did our own work on
That's
the
fine.
2-year fix, our own work on Lowell, we would still
no,
be
I,
ready to go 3 years.
I just, I'm nervous with the statement that you can't come back to
Can't
us.
put it back on.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I understand the money
I'm sorry,
transfer,
it says-
logistics, it's just,
it says in the current, you can go after 34 if you want.
yeah, and that's what I'm thinking, if the
Yeah,
fix that we
then
give
we-
it
we
gets
end-
us 10
we-
years,
We end in the same
10,
place.
15 years, that puts us
Exactly.
back in the
But it
mix.
says we won't be offered any bridges in the upcoming solicitation for 27 to 34.
So between 1927, 2027 to 2034, we're not gonna do it.
So, what if the one down at Beauvair's Trailer Park goes to shit?
Where?
Down at Billy's Trailer Park on River Road.
That bridge?
Yeah,
They dropped it to E2.
right, so it's already dropping. I mean, I guess I support the idea, I'm just nervous about that statement saying, you do this, it comes with a consequence of
Well,
tossing it down the
we
pool.
wouldn't get on right now even, I mean, not.
I know, it's
not-
still
not-
2-3 years
Well,
out.
I mean, not that we're going, let's just take Love Road, okay, we just get rid of that, but like even if we applied for something on Beauvair's,
That,
we-
the
we're
bridge
still,
down.
we're still, we're basically, we're still at
34.
34.
Doesn't
They're
matter.
not accepting
There's
anything.
60 bridges.
It's in this cycle.
Yeah, we
Okay.
would still
Alright.
get bumped out 10 years.
Okay.
So if we had a strategy right now, we should get in the queue on that one. Because I'm not up to speed even what the problem is there on that one.
Oh, I'm not either. I'm just saying that we have other bridges in town. I mean, we've got the Colby Road Bridge. We've got that River Road Bridge at Billy's place. We've got, there's other bridges
You got the other bridge right there in Riverdale.
that are high, I don't want to say they're high
High-
traffic.
They are high traffic.
I just don't want to get completely thrown out. And I know that they're inspected, obviously, by the state. So, I mean, hopefully we don't get blindsided.
We have one
by
other
that.
red flag,
One of
right?
those,
What's that?
Do we have one other red flag bridge or culvert?
I think it's just that, Old Francistown, right? Yeah.
No, the culvert.
the other
And where's
culvert
that
that
one?
goes
That one's
underneath,
up
below
just,
Randy's.
just beyond, just a few feet, probably 200 feet beyond that
Peacock,
first got.
yeah, so the both of them were probably
It
put in the
comes,
same
it comes
same
down
time.
and then it just comes
Okay.
over and it goes
Well,
under
no,
Old
the one-
Francistown.
Francistown got washed out in the years
Oh, wait.
ago.
Oh, yeah, but
That
it's
got
just,
washed out and was put back in.
right.
But they're right
Just
there in
saying.
close proximity
Yeah,
though.
but I
Yeah.
don't think Low Road got washed out.
No.
Francistown did.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that's been worked on
okay.
within the last 10 years.
10 or
12 years,
15,
something like
yeah.
that.
Kevin, when we were going to the taxpayers for the 200,000 a year, or 205 a year, there was 3. It was 2 culverts, which was Old Francistown Lull, and then the River Road Bridge.
Yeah,
So so that's been the horizon for the last
But-
3 to
but-
5 years.
but isn't the E2, that's a E2 classification down there where Billy Bovair is? And
Yeah.
then that other bridge, one of them isn't up to snuff anyway, because it's not supposed to be, we're not supposed to be using it for heavy trucks.
Which one's that?
I don't know which one, it's one of them. Naomi probably knows.
No, they're all, everything in town's
Well,
E2, at least.
No, one of them is not rated. I know, I've heard it. But
E2's gonna be 100,000 pounds or less.
Right, on five or six axle, yeah. No, I thought that, no, I can't think of any other ones that are,
it's one or the other. It's one or the other of those bridges. I know, so we had a big discussion about this 3 or 4 years ago.
Our
One-
biggest problem, and we've been told this, I was told at the state, is you've gotta implement a maintenance.
oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's gotta be more maintenance than what we do,
I'm
which is
begging,
none.
But at the same time, we have to get to a project.
Now, this repair that we're talking about now on River Road for 100 and something,
Yeah.
is that gonna increase the weight limit?
Yeah, it'll bump us back up.
Oh,
Us back up
that
E2.
should be, yeah.
It'll put us back to E2, similar to what we did, it was 50,
Back on
it was 50,000 you spent 5 years ago. So this number's considerably higher, but we have considerably more deterioration. I think it is important to note that the committee and the committee members, which we all know, we did recognize that if we get to year 2.5 and we get downgraded from E2 down to 6-ton again, that the town will be doing nothing until we get
To gamble.
to gamble. So the biggest players in town who sit on, that are affected by this, sit on our bridge committee. They openly accept there is a risk factor, right? We make it, we get 6 months from start date with the state, and all of a sudden we're back, and like we were last March, we would not be investing any more money in that bridge. That has been my, because we don't want to be throwing more money.
Oh, no,
good money after
good
bad.
money at bad, yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I-
at this point, we'll have almost $200,000 invested in that bridge in repairs,
Repairs.
yeah. I guess I have no problem, John Van has asked that if we make this swap, there will be a more formalized repair, presentation.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
there'll be a full scope of work that
You
being
have to put out
drafted
the
up.
bid, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's in the works. That's
Okay.
the next meeting of the committee, is to review what that scope of work, that repair, and to get that out to bid. Obviously, that work wouldn't commence till spring.
Right, well, and I understand that, yeah, but I'm just, again, and I agree with him, it's just, obviously now, if we go from a 5-channel option, and we're gonna narrow it down to a 2, then we obviously should have, the round numbers of each.
Yeah.
And a more present, and I say round numbers, but firmer numbers than the generalized,
Yeah.
what we have today.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and a big part of the repair, because you can't specify, okay, you've got rot here until you start scaling that back.
Oh, yeah,
You
where,
know,
how much it's gonna be back to.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So it probably will end up being a price per pound of steel quote, like how much steel we putting in, and similar to putting asphalt down, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many ton of asphalt, this is what we'll lay it down
Uh-huh.
for. So we can't really define the scope of work, just how it will be performed, and what,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
where the fixes are, based on the state's report, if
Yeah,
anybody's read that.
yeah, I said it was 8 deficiencies plus 2 on the deck or something, okay.
Yeah, exactly, and one of them, which both
gotta
of
be taken care
them
of.
were prepared to repair,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
But
right.
yeah, if you get really crunching into the stuff, it becomes almost, I don't want to say a no-brainer,
But the
But-
direction gets easier to point.
yeah, it's almost like we'll be throwing good money after bad, and
Right.
30 years from now, another board's gonna be sitting here,
Having to do it all
Cursing
over
us
again.
out, saying, doing it again.
and why did they ever put the
Yeah.
same thing back?
Yep. All right, I guess it requires a motion, right?
I don't know, it's got 5 signature lines.
Well, let's move it for officiality. I'm gonna move that we, remove the Lull Road, metal, culvert pipe from the DOT Bridge Improvement Program. Well, it says forego the Lull Road Bridge over Peacock Brook, number 082-045. Two currently enrolled, the program, number 14338, which is a request for the River Road Bridge over the Pascagoula River, number 110/150, in an effort for a replacement of the River Road Bridge.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Abstentions?
Alright, so the letter.
He's got it, yep.
Okay, so the rental ordinance, the subcommittee, we pulled in, the police chief, the acting fire chief, Bruce, Tony, and Kevin met at 3:00, Friday before the bridge meeting at 4. And it's my understanding they're gonna look at a little bit of a rewrite and then pass it around, I guess. So-
Yes, everybody is in agreement, planning, fire, police, and I voiced my personal opinion about broadness, fee structure, need, what is the size of this problem really, and what is the current governances we already have. We already have certain things, can we implement them in opposed to rewriting an entire ordinance? Everybody seems to agree with that. The fire chief started a checklist. The police are compiling the number of calls and where to try to assess this problem. The zoning appears to be having the hardest time addressing, trying to figure out a way to not to get this broad blanket policy, this broad blanket ordinance, to try to simplify it down to address the problem, with the understanding that the problem is growing every year, okay? There's more and more and more of these types of units, and how do we get, because it ends up falling onto his desk, right? So, I don't know, Tony went home to noodle it, think about it. He's working with Bruce on some language, but we will see a revised, before the first of the year, we will see a revised ordinance, okay?
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
The food trailer has been moved.
Okay, from Ineson Field.
It's been moved.
Mhm.
Collective bargaining, I think the next two things I'd like to do as a special meeting, the first being collective bargaining, because you remember all the things that the chief sent you guys?
Mhm.
We need to decide after, I guess, listening to him, are you gonna move those forward or not?
Right,
So that we need to meet as a group to talk about that.
that's correct.
So I'd like to do that so that we can get this off the table, because we need to have it done before the end of the year. So I'd like to schedule that, but then, I'll do that, not this week, but I'll pick a couple of days. I'll have to do it
Okay.
often. And then, doing some thinking, I don't know if anybody else has been doing some thinking, with, I think I've mentioned to you guys before, when someone leaves, it's the easiest to maybe consider reconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking a step back, looking at comments out there in the public. Maybe it is too much for one person. Maybe you hire a DPW road agent type person,
Mm-hmm.
and you hire a supervisor at the transfer station.
Mm-hmm. It's time to look
water
at it.
sewer. I just think it's the opportunity you have to take the opportunity when you have a chance. You're
Yeah.
not
Oh,
getting rid of
absolutely.
somebody to downsize. We're already empty. So I think if the rest of you wanna talk amongst yourself, I think we need to have another meeting to figure out where we're gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Because here we are at Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
I know they were out the other day.
Yeah,
So I think we really need to talk about
That's fine.
what we envision.
mhm,
I think it would be easier having, I could discuss it with the road person, I could discuss his things with the transfer station.
right,
It's easier for me, and it's easier for them.
mhm,
So I just think this is our opportunity
yeah, that's fine.
that we need to discuss again, another meeting, but we knew this before we move forward to hire somebody.
Yeah.
So I'd like to
You-
make that a separate, I don't care if it's the same night, it's just, we need to have we
The-
all need to bring to the table what your thoughts would be.
The only concern I have with that, and I completely agree with the statement,
Yeah,
is we have, in the last 3 years, done a lot of shucking and jiving on positions, on budgets, on numbers. And I understand that we have the opportunity now, but I'm skittish, because we've done a lot of moving around of positions, we've done a lot of different,
talking about money.
yes. And,
Well, I
and
think if you're lighting the load, I'm just wondering.
I personally don't think that salary line should be lightened very much. So I think you're really talking about two separate increase, I would say increases, but you're looking at a full person increase, I feel, to cover the gap. And we've, in the last 3 years, the board has obviously entered in some contracts, entered into some agreements, and going into, I feel, I want to be confident, but being realistic, going into another year of that, I'm skittish to change more,
Okay, well.
personally,
Yeah.
as one board
I
member.
hear you, and I think we need to maybe run some numbers.
Yep, and that's fine.
Because you also got someone, gave their notice
At the-
down there, so now there's 2 empties.
Yes,
There'll be, Logan gave his 2 weeks' notice, and his last day is December 1st.
yes.
So now you have 2 openings. Does that play into, I don't know, I'm just,
No, and it definitely could. My only thought is you still need
So
butts,
many people.
butts in the seat to drag blades around the town. So I don't think you can really,
I'm just asking you, that's. the
again,
opportunity.
I don't disagree with the statement. I think, I fully support the idea. I just, again, where we've shucked and jived so much around,
Yeah.
I'd really like to secure a budget that locks all that in and then move forward.
So what I would need is I would need Beth to take a look at what the transfer station budget and DPW budget, or how we're gonna fare, and what's the projected end, because we have made some significant cost savings up at the transfer station.
We have,
Yeah, and there's potential for additional, which we know and we've
but
discussed.
don't forget that we're a bottom line budget and our salt has doubled and our fuel has doubled.
Right, right.
And here I don't disagree, looking at those two budgets, overall at the bottom, we just told the police chief to put almost 30 grand more into his fuel budget.
Right.
So we're gonna need to rob everywhere, especially moving forward.
Right. I'm just wondering if those unforeseen savings, along with the retained recycling revenues that are are to be there for the transfer station, if in fact that superintendent, which would be filling, part of what we're currently carrying as a labor pool, okay, which we could adjust possibly in some ways, or restructure that. It isn't a full, it's not a,
quick fix.
it's not a.
Oh, it's not a quick
but-
fix,
but-
by any means,
But
no.
it's not a full salary, it's not like we're looking for that total full salary, because part of it's already there.
Right.
You with me?
I am with you, but I think, even though I know that we, as a town overall, we have saved, because of some of the plans that have been implemented up at the transfer station, we've saved, but again,
We may need that to pay.
we may
Peter.
need that at the bottom line.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest
Yeah.
concern.
I guess my point was, I don't want the window to shut.
No, I'm not saying we shut it, we explore it.
It's always
Yeah.
the best to
We
do
explore it, but I'm very guarded moving with making changes prior to March.
Okay.
I just,
I
again,
just thought I'd throw it out there.
because I know we've done a lot with so little, and I feel that next year, if we go into the same situation, we're not gonna be as fortunate.
And whether or not we can groom,
Just because of the times, the
Yeah.
inflation, the new numbers for everything,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah, and as you mull that over before now in our working session, tonight we hired an assistant,
Two
okay?
of them.
Right, but at
We will.
at the same time, we're stepping away from one of the individuals. We're gonna readjust that stipend that we were doing, of course, because that, we now are filling a position at one of those. So, and the person that we're considering grooming into, or currently grooming into that key position, we have to look at all of that.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot to explore. I'm just saying that, obviously this year, we have a little bit on the plus, but the reason is because, like we stated tonight, I mean, we were without a position since March. So there's a bunch of payroll, insurance, retirement money that we didn't spend. DPW's been down a driver for X amount of time. There's, again,
Down,
PD's down.
Fire's down, chief.
Right,
Fire's
so,
down, administrative assistant.
so there's a whole bunch of
Yeah.
vacant employment lines, that if we were to lucky enough to fill those, we would not be as fortunate on the bottom line.
Right, of
And while I definitely,
Sure.
I agree 100% with the statement of reevaluate, check it out, see where we're at, maybe we can come up with a plan, I just don't know if we implement it. That's at the bottom line, I just don't know if we implement it.
And again, it's, in this labor market, are we really gonna be able to find that person that's gonna fill
Oh,
all those
we
needs?
may not,
Yeah.
but we have to anticipate that we are, because if we're not, we don't wanna fill them, we eliminate them, right? Well, we can't eliminate them because we need them.
Right.
So we have to think,
It might be just another way to get all the bases covered.
but we have
that's
to
all I'm
think
saying.
ahead that, hey, if we fill a couple of these, what's that gonna look like,
It's gonna go
number-wise?
hand in hand with how we put together the whole budget. How you gonna cover some things?
Right. Yeah, the other thing is too, is with, and I guess we're speaking here is, if the economy starts a downfall, are people gonna start flocking to municipalities for job security? So then we could fill the spots instantly, and then where are we at?
Yep.
Or if some layoffs start happening, we start filling spots. Maybe we won't fill them all, but if we start filling some, just, again, I'm
There's a high
very
like-
cautious into
there's-
March.
There's a hard likelihood, there's a high likelihood that that's gonna happen too. I
Right.
mean, it's gonna hit,
I'm just,
this recession is gonna hit, that's the sector that we're addressing the hardest, and there's gonna be more and more people out on the street.
so I don't wanna really overturn the apple cart with all the changes we made in the last 2 or 3 years of default budgets.
No, and I think we're on the same page. there.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
I
right.
mean, we can, right
We can
now-
mull it. I'm not saying we can't mull it.
But right now, what I think we have, the structure and what we've seen with, I mean, I feel so much more confident than I did 4 weeks ago, just based on what we're seeing from the people that we put in place and how they're doing and how
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
they're
Oh.
stepping to the
Oh,
plate.
110%.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah, that's been
Just-
that's been like a highlight, refreshing
yeah, it's just,
to see somebody that stepped to the plate and,
it's just, again, we gotta play cautious, I think.
yeah.
My personal
So
opinion.
I know we looked at the evaluation form that Sherry gave us, but we looked at it, so I think we have to still finalize and determine
If we're
when
accepting it.
you're gonna use, or
Yeah.
when they're due, and things like that, okay? I
Yeah,
don't know who
and,
said that.
and Sherry's, I pointed out a couple of little things, Sherry's gonna proof it and get us back the final draft, which,
That was a typo on,
Okay,
on one page.
no big deal.
And then the schedule, next time you meet, you're gonna have fire, the small budgets. And then the 19th, we should be done. Town office is closed for everybody that's watching. We're closed Thursday and Friday this week for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I haven't changed anything on the below. I know we talked about the chimney with the library. That's gonna be done. And then, I haven't touched anything else.
Okay. When we do, I personally would like to have a work session once we get all the budgets presented.
Okay, yeah.
I think this year, I think we have to.
I mean,
Yeah, because there's
the
so much
police is,
stuff
this
you
is
have
a,
to do.
just to go through the police really
Oh.
in detail, this is half a week's worth of work here.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying, is I think we need a work session just to go over the budgets that were presented, to narrow down that default versus, proposed,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, no, once you've heard from everybody,
Yeah,
put it in one big package, and then you figure out where you can squeeze.
yeah, but I think we need a work session to make that
Yeah, it's
squeeze.
not-
There's a lot of things on a
Can't
work
do it.
session that, here you are, not saying,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of things on a work session that you can,
Accomplish,
not have people sitting there waiting for,
right,
to get to the podium.
right. Yeah, or they can still sit out there, it's fine.
So the only thing you have to do, as far as I'm concerned, is,
Oh, we have to hire.
is make,
Hire.
make motions on your hires.
Yeah.
Publicly.
All right, I'll move that we hire, Monique Nelson, at a probationary rate of $19.60 an hour, for the position of administrative assistant, based out of, the town office. Do I have to give the second number too, or no?
After successful.
After successful probation to be, compensated $20.60 an hour after successful completion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moving second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Abstentions?
I abstain.
Okay. All set? For the second one? Yep. I'll move again that we hire
Sandy Robbins.
Sandy Robinson. I knew it was, I couldn't remember the first name. Sandy Robinson at a probationary rate of $19.60 an hour for the position of part-time administrative assistant at the, to be based out of the Department of Public Works. And successful probationary time would be to promote it to $20.60 an hour.
Second?
Moving seconded, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. That it for you? Yeah. We did get a couple pieces of
I
correspondence.
sent an email out from a guy from Jewett Road.
Yes, that was one of them.
And I don't know if I saw another one.
And the other one was, there was another one about free stuff on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah, down in Riverdale, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything that we as a board can
Yeah,
do
they can
about
put-
stuff
they
on the
can
side of
do
the
it.
road. The email was to board members November 10th,
Right.
that there was more junk, free stuff on the side of the
Yeah.
road than there has been in months.
I can't police that.
That, you know, that with snow coming, we don't want to see it flying out in the booms.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could be considered at some point is litter, right?
Right, exactly.
And if it's in the road.
Travel way.
Well, if it's in the road right away, we could ask for it to be
Stu-
pushed back.
If it's too
Right.
close to the road, it's gonna get hit with a plow anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but still, you just don't want it, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, usually that stuff gets picked up fairly quickly, because.
If it's free, it's free, it's not for me.
They scoop it up and then they
Yeah.
show up at some flea market with it all.
Yeah.
Flea
Right.
markets are over.
A shorter topic, we just got an email today from the town clerk. Do we want to discuss
Yeah.
that? I'm all right with the move. I don't think that that's over the
That's 4 days, right?
4 days, but I don't think that that's too many to carry over, right? Per the book?
She's got everything else is cleaned
No,
up.
she's got,
She said 9
yeah,
days.
yeah, she's got time, like me.
But she can carry it over to a certain extent,
She's
right?
asking, no. you have
She's
to
asking you
request
for
it.
4
Oh.
extra days
You
beyond
have
that.
to request it,
Okay,
and it's largely due to the month that she didn't have help.
right. So, so do we have to move approve it or just,
Well, Beth needs
Consensus.
to know not to take it from her.
so, but we just need to move it then?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Move to allow the town clerk to transfer up to, well, carry over up to 4 days of vacation time to the year 2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Moving second, all in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Abstentions? Noes?
No. Just, just,
He said
You
no.
know?
He's a no.
yeah, it's just, not just because it's hers, just,
In general,
yeah, in general.
use it.
You know, it's
Okay.
on your paycheck every week.
Okay,
And I understand she had issues, but
okay.
All right, then I'm leaving,
Wow.
because I have issues too.
All right, well, what are we gonna do now?
John, what are we gonna do now?
What are we gonna do now, John?
All right, then we have the Jewett Road discussion, which, I'm not exactly sure what,
I tried to read it a couple of times, because first of all, I'm not a selectman.
right,
Second of all, I
It's a- it's-
understand what he's after.
yeah, I do too.
Want
There's
somebody
people out there in the big trucks, the four-wheelers and everything.
making a friggin' mess.
It's a non-town maintained road.
yeah, it's a class 6
Right,
road.
And that's when I said people break the law, I did say that, but I meant it in a way that it's really fish and game.
Right.
You know what I mean? If
It-
they're out there on an ATV or, and I didn't make
Once,
myself.
once they come off of the Class 6 road,
And they're out there in those big, huge monster.
right,
motor-
but once they come off the Class 6 road, it's a fish and game issue.
Right,
Right.
it's not the Weare, police.
Right, so, I sympathize, but I don't know what we as a town can do.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
it's too bad.
Well-
wouldn't-
I just don't know what we can
I
do.
wouldn't wanna be there.
No, me either.
Well, I mean, it's a class 6, you could close one end off, that might eliminate some of it. Put
You can't do that though, because that's putting money into a road that we technically legally cannot do.
I don't mean putting much money into it, I mean putting.
I don't think you can put a dollar into it.
Is the entire road class 6 from when it leaves 149?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Class 6 as soon as you leave 149.
Right. Because they
So-
have to maintain that road, Sawyer anyway.
The residents do. The residents maintain it.
Right, we don't, right.
But the town, I think per RSA, because of the Class 6, we cannot put a dollar into it. Right, we can't put anything into it. I don't care if it's a small amount, we can't put anything into it.
You couldn't gate it anyway.
I don't mean gate it but I was thinking you could maybe roll a couple of good-sized rocks there. Because somebody put rocks in up on Toby. So people wouldn't go through there because it was getting to be a
But that's-
racetrack.
Is that a private property thing though?
No, that's a non-maintained class 6.
Oh, okay.
Where did they put them?
I think up at the top of Toby Hill, up there near that tower.
Really?
Yeah, there was
You
two.
can't get through there
That
anymore?
When I
That
walked,
was
when
at-
I
what's
walked
his
up there
name's?
to check that cemetery
Those are
last
Huntington's.
year, I left the car down by where Chases live, and I walked all the way up through there to check that cemetery
Well,
out.
if,
There was rocks up there, you couldn't go through there with it.
if it's a Class 6 road that's blocked by rocks that we didn't put
Yeah,
there,
no.
they need to be removed.
They're removed.
They need to be removed.
I went up there last fall, or 2 years ago, looking at that cemetery. If I'd had a four-wheel drive truck, I could've driven right down through there.
Well, there were rocks up there
If it's a,
today, I went up
yeah,
last
but,
fall.
I mean, but if it's a Class 6 road and somebody put those rocks there, they gotta be
I don't
removed,
know.
because
Yeah.
it's not, that's not their place to do that, it's ours.
Yeah, because it's quoted that I said people break the law and there's nothing that we can do about it.
Mhm.
I can't without the police being right there.
Right, it's an enforcement thing, but again, I sympathize, but I don't know what, without Fish and Game involvement and Ware PD involvement and Director of Patrols,
It's funny that they use that road too, because they can access that same piece further down without driving by any residences. That,
The day I was up there,
No, they'd
there was
still have to drive by
probably
if they
10
come
or
in off
12
Mountain Road.
ATVs
You'd still
came up
drive by
from
houses.
149, stopped in front of me, and I says, "What are you doing up here?" "Oh, this is an ATV trail." I said, "No, it's not."
no.
"Oh, it isn't?" I said, "No, it's not.
So there's
There's a
probably-
regular beaten path up there."
So this year, it says, has been worse to say the least. There now is an increase of bikes and Jeeps, still driving in a reckless manner, while also spinning their tires and tearing the road up and driving up to the near old stone walls on the berms. Dirt bikes take Jewett at a high speed, from experience, I'd say north of 40, sometimes faster, to the logging camp down by Sawyer Road to get into the backside of Farron to avoid the game wardens.
Yeah.
So is it a notification to the game wardens that they're doing this, and maybe instead of going to the top side, they need to come to the back side? I don't know, I'm just putting ideas out there.
Yeah, well, I deal with it all the time because of Vincent State Forest, and they're my neighbor on
Yep.
3 sides. So I mean, I know exactly what he's talking about. We have, we've had multiple gun ranges set up by clubs. We have all kinds of trouble with Jeeps and trucks and all kinds of stuff up in there. But it's just doing your due diligence as far as that road is not an ATV road.
No.
I mean, I stop and talk to the guys and take a picture of their number.
Plates,
And then
yeah.
I text it off to Fish and Game and say, there they are, go get them.
Right,
Because
That's all we can do, I don't.
it's really all you can do is self-police.
Right.
It is an absolute,
yeah.
But-
Too bad.
It's too bad, right.
and social media has not helped it.
Not one bit. No, not one bit. So,
You get 20 Jeeps lined up.
Oh, yeah, they'll
Right.
go in a whole
Like
line,
that.
you'll see them.
yeah, they're going to pack, yeah,
There's like, 10 or 15 of them right in a row.
right. All right, anything else under correspondence of business? Then I'll move, we adjourn.
Second.
There it is. Everyone have a good night.
Yeah, and a nice Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy
Yep, thank
Thanksgiving.